Hello, everyone. I hope you are having a good day. Sorry for the slightly late start. I try and be good about that, but every once in a while, not so much. Today we're going to be starting with this Nurikabe killer Sudoku by Udukos. There was I don't think I can even count that high many way tie for most voted on puzzle with 7 votes. So this was one of them. So we're going to do this one. I realize now that because I was running late, I did not write down the names of the people who voted for this. So Tristan can write down the names of the people who voted for this. So we did a puzzle with this rule set a couple streams ago that was actually inspired by this puzzle. So this is the older one. I have at least 2 8s. Oh no, well, I'll do an 8 after this. I did not, when I looked an hour ago, have any 8s that I could see. Although it is technically true that, that I can miss things. Because there are, there's not a button that says what's the most voted on puzzle. You're very welcome, David. I'm very happy to have you here. And by the way, welcome to Nicola and Gullybee and Josh, Amy, Ambrose. Lots of people hanging out in chat. Welcome to everyone. If you could take a second to like the stream, by the way, that is always much appreciated. Thank you from Zach and I. Alrighty, so the people who voted for this puzzle are Nordy, Doomdiat, Luda, Zendari, Russ, Eric, and David. Apparently, I'm going to be doing a Tallcat or a Jesper puzzle after this because apparently people have voted something up to 8. I swear it was not at 8 like an hour and a half ago when I looked to see which one to pull up. But all right. So the rules for this puzzle, and I'm showing you the rules on LMD because there's no rules on the Penpa page. Will there be rules if I refresh it? No. So I just have to show you here. So we have to shade some cells Nurikabe style. So shading cells Nurikabe style means a couple things. So one of the things is that all the shaded cells have to be connected. And so I'm pointing at this example that is behind my picture at the moment. So let me point at an example with it not behind my picture. All the shaded cells have to connect, as you can see here. I can't have any 2x2s of shaded cells. And every sort of island of unshaded cells has to have a single clue in it. So you'll see this 8, this 6, this 12, and so on. You can't have any unclued islands, and you can't have any double-clued islands. So every island has exactly one clue in it. In normal Nurikabe, that island or that clue would tell you the number of cells. In this case, it tells you the sum of the cells. I believe it also says that digits can't repeat in that area, but I'm trying to double check that because I can't. It just says it's a killer clue, so I assume that means digits can't repeat. But I don't think it explicitly says that, but someone whose eyes are better than mine might be able to see that it says that. Note they don't have to be at the top left or anything like that. The clue can be anywhere. Numbers cannot repeat within a white area. There we go. Okay. Thank you. Jay Dyer is the winner of the read the rules and understand what they say thing. There's also an inequality that says this cell is less than this cell. So we'll get to that when we get to it. So those are the rules. So first of all, I should, I need to add in, how do we have shading and, okay, so we need to put in surface, and we need to put in shape, because we need to put in I need to move myself back to over here. I can still make this a little larger, actually. Yeah, that's fine. Over here, we need to put in a tree, so we need shape. Oh, I added shape. Okay. So there is a request for a turkey. I don't believe that turkey is available. We could have a fish or a star or a moon. I feel we might just have to go with the good old betting tree and call it good. Sadly, we have that. Alrighty. So the first thing is clues are always unshaded. Because the clues are all marking a contiguous unshaded area. I realized that I tried to do something that is not a supported operation in Penpa. But as soon as I have those, I'm obligated to separate the shaded or the unshaded. So I need a shaded cell here because otherwise the 22 and the less than 8 would be the same. And I have to similarly separate those and separate those. And because the unshadeds connect, because the shadeds connect, this shaded always needs to get out. So we can get at least that much, quote unquote, for free. We can get at least that much for the low cost of basically reading the rules. I see that this digit is less than 8. So we have, so this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7, or, yeah, it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7. I see lots of new names in chat, by the way. Nice to see you, Eliza Vita. So exciting to see some new folks around. Yes, Ambrose makes a good point about this 19, which is that the 19 cannot finish in one cell, so the 19 needs to grow. So the 19 needs to go at least to here. The 6 can't get very large. Could be one cell, could be up to 3. Let's see. It's interesting, actually. I'm surprised that there's not sort of like a... okay. Garion has a good point, which is that in this 2x2, this is my least favorite Nurikabe deduction, by the way. So if anyone who sets Nurikabe on Puzzlink is listening, because I solve a lot of those, I very much dislike this deduction. But if you highlight any random 2x2, you can ask yourself the question, what green areas can get there? Because something has to. And so Garion's point, which is completely correct, is that this 2x2 needs to be interrupted, and it can only be interrupted by this green 10, because the 17 is at most 5 in size, and it can't get there. And so if this cell is black, the puzzle is broken. Because if this cell is black, the 10 has to get there in a way that does not work. So we have that. So this cell is green, and in fact, also this cell is green. Now, another point from Emily is, if the 10 were to come here, this 22 would be unable to grow at all, and it certainly needs to. So that needs to go there, and now the 10 does need to grow and can only grow in one direction, so the 10 needs to grow that way. So we've got that. Now, if this cell is green, the blacks are disconnected. So this cell is black, as is that cell and that cell, because it's the only way for the black to connect. The green here comes out. The black needs to sort of come out over here. This needs to be green, because if it's black, then I would have a black 2x2. So this is green. Avoid a checkerboard. Memerister asks why I dislike it. It's random hunting and pecking for things. It doesn't feel like it's logical or interesting. It's like my most be hated deduction in chaos construction, where it's like, oh, suddenly you need to ask where purple gets its 4, and it can only get it from this spot, and that forces a bunch of things. It's like, it's just not an interesting deduction to find. It's not like, I don't feel like anyone is ever, like, happy when they find that deduction, and they're just annoying to spot. But as just like the chaos construction one, if there's 40 pairs of eyes on it, it's probably less annoying. Oh yeah, these shaded cells need to get out, Garion points out. So like when I'm doing chaos constructions on stream, that deduction doesn't bother me because why would it? These two cells, neither of them can... Oh, maybe that one can be green just? I don't like the look of that. I think that breaks if I look at it carefully, but this is definitely not anything because there's nothing that can get to it. So we have that. Oh, am I missing a whole rule? Oh, I'm missing a whole rule. Thank you, Carl, for telling me that I'm missing a whole rule of the puzzle. Which is that the digit in the cage tells me the size. So this can only be a 3 or a 4. This I know is... Oh no, this could be a lone 1. That would be fine. This is a 3 or a 4 for the same reason. Now... a deduction that you might say is very similar, but that I do enjoy, is I do enjoy if you look at a single cell and realize the single cell can't be reached by anything, and so that cell has to be black. I think that deduction is a lot more appealing. Yeah, this is 1, 2, or 3. I didn't really want to mark 1, 2, 3 into this. It felt excessive, but we can, if it will please people. I like pleasing people. Let's see. So how many cells can the 22 possibly get up here? Unfortunately, I could do 22 and... Can I do 24 and 4 if one of them is a 4? Yes, absolutely, I can. Oh, but that doesn't work. I can't even do this because this would isolate a black cell. Okay, what's the actual maximum number of cells I can get for the 22 if the 22 doesn't go this way? I don't think it works. If the 22 doesn't go this way, I think the only cells I can actually take are these two. Again, I could never take this one and these two because of that, because it would isolate a black cell here. And so this would be at most 3, 8, 9. That's 20. So I think this cell's always green is my argument. And if that cell's always green, this cell is always gray because the gray has to get out. This is also 1, 2, or 3. This gray has to get out through here. If this is green, if this cell is green, I've isolated this gray. I've created a green wall. So this cell has to be gray. Right. I can't do 17 and 2, because 17 and 2 would need to be 8, 9, but it would need a 2. So this 17 up here needs a green. Ambrose points out that while this 8 can be a 1, this 6 can't be a 1, and the difference is this is a less than 8, so if it's a 1, it's fine. I can't make this a 1, because then I would be saying I'm making 6 in one cell, which is not going to work. If I really want to be full Goodliff, I can do that. So now, if this is green, it forces gray across the whole area. So now this 22 cage at most gets one cell above, because the second this is green, this gray connects around like that. So again, this green needs to take this cell. Right. Ambrose makes a point that this green wall will finish if I make this cell green, which would isolate this. So this cell is gray, not to anyone's great surprise, I suspect. This gray needs to get out, so this cell is gray. This gray needs to get out, so this cell is gray. So we've got more of that. Let's see. So this is at least 3. So I guess this is 3, 4, or 5 are the options for this cell. This is 4, 5. It can't actually be 6 because I can't make 22 and 6 with a 6. So this is 4 or 5 by X sums logic. Oh, wow. That's gorgeous, Garion. I love that. If this is 4, then there are 3 green cells, all of which are in row 1, and which of necessity are a 1, 2, 3 triple, breaking this cell. So this can't be a 4. It has to be a 3. What a great spot. That is gorgeous. Okay, so this is a 3. And we get to do our 3 dance. Ba-boop-ba-doop. Woo! Ba-doop, ba-doop, boop, woo! Ba-doop, ba-doop, woo! Ba-doop, ba-doop, boop, boop, ba-doop, woo! Ba-doop, boop, 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 woo! Ba-doop, boop, 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 ba-doop, boop, boop, wah-ha! Ba-da-ba-da, wah-ha! Thank you, Zach. Thank you. So we get to, of course, gray around that. Trying to decide which is more problematic, this being gray or this being green. So now the point is this can't be a 3 anymore, so the green needs to extend. But I need to separate the 17 and the 10. So there we go. So we've got that. Okay. Thank you, Memerister. And Eric. I greatly appreciate the mods. Ah, right. This gray thing, its only outlet is here. So that's gray. Is Ambrose's point. That is a very good spot. Let's see. This is a 4-5 pair, so this isn't a 4 anymore. So this is a 2-3 pair. That assuredly does something interesting. Oh, good luck with the teaching. That's right. Your Thanksgiving was a while ago. I'm trying to convince myself that this 2-3 lets me gray something because I can't make any of this big enough. Good spot from Garion. If this cell is green, all of this would be green, and that would have lots of consequences which are bad, including the fact that I've connected 2 green areas. So this is always gray. That is a good spot from Garion. So now this can't be gray. Oh no, this could maybe be gray. Never mind. So, okay, I don't think this works. If this were gray, I would need both of these to be green. These would be a 1, 2, 3 triple, which would make these at least 4, 5. which is too many to make 10. So this cannot be gray. This must be green, which then grays across here just by connectedness. That was just a follow-up on Garian's point earlier. Oh, I was then reading Ken's point, but I think Ken's point was the point I just found, so I think Ken and I are on the same page. It's always fun for me when I go and say, oh, someone has a good point. I will read that, and then I realize it's the point I saw. Okay. Okay. I'm trying to understand now what's going on with this 2-3. So this is either 1-6 or 2-5. Okay, right. Sorry. I understand now. Sorry. When people said this being a 3 would break, I was still somehow stuck on, I don't even know what. But this being a 3 breaks because this would need to be 1, 2, 3, and I just can't get out of this box. So this can't be 1, 2, 3 without breaking that cell by Sudoku. So this cell is a 2. No. Bad, Penpa. Bad. So this cell is a 2. This cell's a 3. So one of these two is a 4. I will mark because 2 and 4 make that. And so that does tell me, as Eric points out, that now this is a 1-6 over here. Let's see. Trying to decide if there's any like things that break this stuff up here. Let's see. This gray might need to get out. Okay, I do still, of course, need one of these two to be gray. You don't think the 10 can take this cell, Nicholas? I'm not sure. I would believe that we know something, but I can't quite figure it out yet. Okay. This is the point. If this cell is green, then it has to be green by being part of the 10. And so then the question is, what is this? And it's not... These would need to add to 7, and they can't be 1-6, 2-5, or 3-4 because of the 1-6 looking at it. So Nicholas's point, which then Garian explained to me, is that this cell is gray. Okay. Agree. Let's see. If this was a 4, I'd need these 3 to add to 18. That seems very easy to do. If this comes out, it pushes that out like that. That seems okay. I'm looking for islands that are islands of black that are isolated that I haven't appreciated are isolated, but I don't see any. But usually in Nurikabe, if I'm missing something, it's usually either there's a group of black cells that's in threat of being isolated and I haven't looked at it, or there's a 2x2 somewhere that I need to think about. But I don't think there's any 2x2s currently because this 29 can get basically anywhere at once, I think. so many of these sums are small. I want to try combining like all of these cells, but I don't think this is quite going to get me there. So let's say this cell was green. What's the minimum sum of these that I could get? So there's 6 in this column is 21, plus 4 in this column is 31, plus 3 here is 34. So the minimum sum of these cells is 34, whereas they are supposed to sum to 37. So unfortunately, that doesn't prove that this has to be shaded. Let's see. Jeffrey Brady is pointing out a shaded unshaded pair. Let me put that in. So row 2, 3, column 7. Yes. So these cells are a shaded unshaded pair. So this is sometimes helpful to mark for connectivity. I just draw a little line through them to say that these are a shaded unshaded pair. I'm not sure if it quite works here. Let's see. Okay, so Isabella says if this is green, it can't be part of the 10. Okay, so if this is green, what is it? It's not part of the 10 because then this candy cane region has been isolated. It can't be part of the 2, and if this is green and it's part of the 8, or part of the less than 8, this would be a 3 and a 1, and then this could be neither. This could be nothing. Wow, that's an ugly look ahead, but good spot to Isabella. So if this is green, there's no region it can be part of. But you have to think through the entirety of what would be in this if you wanted. So if this is green, it means this is a 3 by definition. This digit would have to be a 1 because otherwise it's a minimum of 6. And now this digit has no value because it can't be, it can't repeat the 3, and it can't be 1 or 2, so it's at least 4, but that makes the sum 8. So this cell is always gray. We can get rid of the line. We can green this. And so because this is size 2, we can gray this. We can green this by the no 2 by 2 rule. We can gray this by the it must escape rule. We can for this by understanding the rules of the puzzle. Oh, except it should be in blue. I don't know how I accidentally switched out of that. Let's see. Okay, so the 10 we know is in 3, so that is green, and these are gray. This is now green by no 2 by 2. So now this isn't a 1. Sorry, isn't a 1. Okay, so what can this digit be? So this could still be 1, 6. That is an option, and I think the 1, 6 could go in either order. Otherwise, it's 2, 5, in which case that's a 5 and that's a 2. This gray collection still needs to escape, so it escapes here, as Carl points out. Okay. Eric is pointing out this digit doesn't have a lot of options. It can't be as large as 6, so it's a 1, 3, or 5 just by Sudoku. Let's see. Row 5's column 6 and 7. Is there a reason these can't both be shaded? To Jeffrey? Because if I know these aren't both shaded, then I know this is a 3. But I don't see why I know these are both shaded. Right. I can't do 29 and 7. 29 and 7 is not an option. So this cell can't be anything, is Directionary's point. Because the only thing it could possibly be is the 29, and it's not the 29. So this cell is gray. Not that cell. So this cell is gray. Let's see. If row 5, column 7 is green, you break the less than 8 clue. Because these would now sum to a minimum of... Right. If this is green, this is a 3, and these are now minimum 1, 5, which is too many. So this can't be green. Okay, that is a very good spot as well to Gary in again. I'm trying to understand Directionary's point about this, but I don't think I do understand it. Yeah, row 7, column 5, this cell. But I don't understand the point about it. Okay. These are a 4-5 pair. So this is a gray. So this is a gray-green pair. If this is gray, it makes that green, but I don't think that's interesting. That's a good question. Okay, so Carl asks, I think this is what Directionary was thinking. Carl asks, if this cell is green, what cage is it a part of? And the answer is it can't be, because if it's part of the 29 cage, I've isolated this little gray. And if it's part of the 19 cage, I've isolated this little gray. So this cell can never be gray. Sorry, this cell can never be green. It's always gray. Okay, I'm pretty sure that's what Directionary wanted me to see before, but Carl got me there. Let's see. I can fill in 4, 5, 6 here. 4 is actually not possible. 4 is too small. 4 would be at most with 9, 8, 7, which would only be 28 and not 29. So this can only actually be 5 or 6. So that's a virtual 5, 6 pair. Let's see. Directionary says this can be 3, 4, or 5. It can't be 6. I agree with that. Is the point that I'm getting a Y wing here? Is this an XYZ wing? This might be an XYZ wing. Although I can't imagine what it does. But this is an XYZ wing, isn't it? I think it is. But but maybe I'm looking for a classic Sudoku type thing here. With all of that. If this is a 4, that makes this gray, because that becomes a 5. It makes this gray, because that becomes a 3. Which then makes both of these green in order to avoid a 2x2. Except in this world, this is supposed to be a 4, so in making this green, I've broken it. So Carl is right. If this is a 4, I think it breaks. If this is a 4, that's black and that's black. That's all I said. Those are both true. Oh, right. Sorry. No, this one's green. Okay. Got it. Okay. But everything is still right, because if this is a 4, that's a 3, so that's black. But this is a 4, so that's green or black, and both break. Okay. It is correct. Okay. Chameleon has asked for a statement about what an XYZ wing is. So it's just a Y wing, except in addition. So let's do Y wing first. So this is a Y wing. I don't think it's going to be a useful Y wing, but it is a Y wing. And the point is that this 3-5 here sees the 3-4 and sees the 4-5. And so if this is a 3, that's a 4. If this is a 5, that's a 4. So one of these two cells is always a 4. And so the Y-wing conclusion is that none of these cells up here can be a 4 because they see both of these. And neither of these cells can be a 4 because that sees both of these, because one of these two is always a 4. Okay. Back when this was a 4 and it was an XYZ wing, what we actually knew is if this is not a 4, then we have the Y wing, so one of these two is a 4. If this is a 4, well, then this is a 4. So what we actually know from the XYZ wing is that one of these 3 cells is always a 4. And so any cell that sees all 3 of these can't be 4. So in particular, these 2 cells could never be 4. That is how an XYZ wing works. It's a Y wing that's one step more complicated. Okay. I gotcha. I don't think I've used an XYZ wing in a puzzle in... I'm not even sure I've used one since I started streaming. But they showed up in the puzzles in the Sudoku app that I used a long time ago. To try and get reasonable at scanning, to the extent that you can call what I am reasonable at scanning. So now this being a 3 makes that a 4, which makes both of these black. Is that a problem? Because now both of these would have to be green. That sure sounds like a problem. Oh, simpler. If this cell is green, what color or what does it belong to? And I think the answer is nothing. I think for exactly the same reason as earlier, now if this is part of any cage, the puzzle's immediately broken. Oh, maybe not, actually. This might be able to squeak into the 29 cage now, if those two are both gray. So no, I think it's actually okay for this to be green and part of the 29 cage. Oh, maybe not for a more complicated reason. No. I was thinking maybe we couldn't fill this 2x2, but the 19 cage can do that. Okay, Kurbon says row 5, column 4. Or row 7, column 4. One of them must be gray, because if this is a 5, it's something to do with this Y-wing, but I don't see it. Why one of these two has to be gray. If these are both green, the point is that's a 5 and that's a 4. And that's a 3. I don't see a problem with that. But I don't yet understand why these can't both be green. And have it connect like that through the gray through there. It doesn't seem to break to me immediately, but I'm probably missing something. Let's see. Okay. So here's Kurobon's point. So these two cells, there's two possibilities. One is they're both green, in which case now this cell needs to be gray to avoid this 3 cells being isolated. In fact, we might as well only look at this cell. If this cell is green, this needs to be gray to avoid this becoming isolated. If, however, this is gray, wait, no, this is backwards. If this is gray, then this needs to be green. No, I think this is backwards. I don't think we get that this is always the same. I think what we're getting is that, yeah, I think if this is gray, then we get that this is green. And if this is green, then we get that this is gray. This is a green-gray pair. So yeah, exactly as Garion says. What we actually have is that these two are opposite. So we could actually do a, like, diagonal line through them. That's the thing I think we actually know. Is the same thing true this direction? So if this cell is gray, that's green. If this cell is green, then that's gray. So these are also opposite. And so then that gives us the point that chat was claiming, which is that these two are either both green or both gray. Which I agree with. These are either both green or both gray. And so if these are both gray, then these are both green. If these are both green, then these are both gray. So actually this sort of like weird line thing actually continues. So these two are the same shading and these two are the same shading, and those two shadings are opposite. Good Lord. But none of that seems to get me anything immediately that I can see. It's just that either these are the two shaded ones or these are the two shaded ones. And that switches which of these is 4 and which of these is 5. Because if these are the shaded ones, that's 4 and that's 5. If these are the shaded ones, that's 4 and that's 5. Yeah, so this way, I'm not sure what Nicholas is trying to get me to look at. I think if this is 5, it just barely works as far as this side of the grid is concerned. Let's see. So that's what I was thinking before Chameleon, but then it looked like it worked. So if this is green, it's part of the 29 cage, and we can do this. And we now have a lot of 2x2s that we have to interrupt with the 19 cage, but I think the 19 cage can just be in 5, and I think we can interrupt them all. So, like, this could go up and over. Oh, no, I would want to go over, up, over. That doesn't quite do it. It's possible that there are too many 2x2s to interrupt. So if the 29 goes up like this, then how many 2x2s does this 19 have to interrupt that don't overlap? And the answer is I have to get 1 cell here and 1 cell here. So that's at least 2 cells that I have to get out of the 19 cage. And I actually need to use the 5th cell here in the process. Well, I need to use the 5th cell in the process of getting here. I'm not actually 100% convinced there's a way to get a cell in this 2x2, a cell in this 2x2, and a cell in this 2x2. Chameleon points out that, yeah, I can do that. That works too. And so then that gives me a little more flexibility. Carl asks if it's a problem if this is 3 cells. If this is 3 cells, it makes that a 4, which makes these two both gray. Not that I see. Let's see. Heliopolis says if the 29 clue is a 6, then the 8 clue must be a 3. And then it touches the 29 island. Okay, let's try that. So if this is a 6, it makes these a 2 and a 5. So this being a 6 does indeed make that a 3. So if this is a 6, these are all green. And so that is gray. Which will make that gray. So this being a 6 does make both of these gray. Let's see. Oh, right. Okay. Got it. Okay. Thank you, Heliopolis. Okay. So if this is a 6, so the point is this can't be green. Because if this cell is green, this is a 6. which seems okay until you realize that this being a 6 also makes that a 2, which makes that a 3, which makes that green and that black, which has now isolated this green. So this is never green. This is always gray. Okay. And I now get it. Okay. Thank you, Jeffrey, for that. Well spotted. Okay. So we get that collection of stuff. I feel like this puzzle is way look-aheadier than the last puzzle with this rule set we did. At least the way we've been tackling it. So now I should count, because now if I count, I now know that this is a 4. I know this is a 5 and this is a 4. I know that these are a 1, 2, 3. I know that these are something. I think I still don't know if this is a 2 or a 3. That 5 has made this a 3. And now one of these two is green, so this is always black. So the betting tree is black. Good news for you if you bet that. So these need to add to 16, so it's a 7 or a 9 and another 7 or a 9. The betting stump. Yes, the invisible betting stump. So this is not a 3. So one of these two is a 3. Oh, and it's not that one either because of that 3. So that is the 3 in the cage. So is it interesting that there's no 3 in here? It doesn't sound interesting. But maybe it is. Let's see. So now my 26 needs to get here, and my 26 needs to get here. Which, I mean, it's got plenty of cells to do, but this 2x2, in fact, my 26 actually needs to get over to there as well as down here. But it could just take 1 cell down and 3 cells over, so it could... No, because it also needs one of these two. So the 29 needs one of these two up here, one of these two over here, and one of these 4 down here. It can get one of those very easily. It can get one of those, but now getting one of these, I think, is still going to take 3, and I think that's 3, 4, 5, 6. I think this 29 has to be a 6. Do we concur that this is a minimum of 6 and that there's not some sneaky way of getting through these? I don't think there's any way of getting through these without 6. I think I have argued that. So now this is a 2 and a 5, which makes this a 3. Makes this green and this gray, which makes this green to avoid a 2x2, which makes this gray, because it's not part of the 19, which makes this green, which makes this gray. This green hasn't found a clue yet, so it has to get out like that. This is a 7 or 9. This is not a 3 anymore, and it's not a 5 either. So this is a 1. And this is now a 2 in order to avoid being less than, or in order to make sure that I am less than 8. If this is green, I've now separated off this gray because I know this group of green connects to this 29, so I'll have isolated this. So this has to be gray by looking at this upper group. Meaning that this is green. This is green because it's got to get out. This is gray because my 29 only gets 1 more, and it has to be down here. Chameleon points out suddenly we have a 5 here just from Sudoku. True that. If this cell is green, then we've isolated some black. So this cell can't be green. This cell has to be black, which now means this is green and this is black. And so we have finished our shading. Woohoo! Okay. So do I need to like write down the minimum of all of these? I worry I might have to write down the minimum of all of these. 6 in box 2 is placed. I'm missing something. I only see this 1-6 pair. Oh, 3, not 6. Wow, it said 6 a second ago. 3 in box 2. I don't think it actually did, but I swear it did when I saw it. 3 is just placed here by Sudoku. So one of these two is a 3. So one of these two is a 3. Yeah, there's a little more flexibility there. So am I supposed to know what this 22 cage is? Because I'm trying to get to... Ugh. There's no 3 or 4, though. So there's no 3 or 4 and no more 5s. So I'm trying to make 17 and 4, but I can't use 3, 4, or 5. So what if I don't use 1 and 2? Then I'd add up to a minimum of 1, 6, 7, 8, which is too many. So I need to use both 1 and 2 in here. And so if I'm using 1, 2, and 5, those sum to 8. I need the remaining ones to sum to 14. And I can't use 3 or 4, so I have to use 6 and 8. Okay. So we have gotten there through great pain, but we've gotten there. Neither of these can be a 2. That one can't be a 1 either. Oh, there's an inequality sign, so this one can't be a 1. And so these are a 6 and an 8. And so that's the 6 and that's the 8. The ye old 2-cell thermo for the win. Let's see. Okay, so what are these digits? We've got a 1, 2, 3, 4. We need a 5. We've got a 6. We need a 7. We've got an 8, and we need a 9. This one is not 5. This one is 5 actually because it sees a 7-9 pair. So we've got that. It is a betting stump. Ye old betting stump. Five in box 5, Andrew points out, is now here. Oops. I did not mean to change colors. Let's see. Make one of these a 6. So one of these is a 6. Four in box 5. So the point is 4 in box 5 is in this column. So 4 is up here somewhere. It's not there or there, so 4 is there. Very good spot there. Yes, if this was a 1, I could not put 1 in box 5. Or if you prefer it the other direction, there is a 1 in one of these cells, so that's not a 1. Whichever direction you like. Nice spot to... both the 4... So it's funny, the 4 was given to me by Chameleon in one direction, and then the 1 was given to me by Directionary in the other direction. It was exactly the same deduction, but phrased exactly oppositely. So these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are 6, 7, 8, 9. This one's not a 6, I know. So the 6 is vertical. So this isn't a 6, and so therefore this is a 6. So one of these is a 1. I do know which one. That's the 1, because I can't put the 1 in a row with a 1, you see. This is not a 6, so this is a 7, 8, or 9. And this is a 7, 8, or 9. One in column 3. Yes, good. I was reading about thorns. That is very interesting. This is a 1 now, just by Sudoku. That's a 1 just by Sudoku. Now the minimum that these cells can be is 2, 4, 5, 6, which sums to 17. So that's a win. So this just is 2, 5, 6. Good spot to Carl there. So this is not a 2 or a 6, so it's a 5. This is not a 2 or a 5, so it's a 6, and so therefore that's a 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these are a 7, 8, 9. And this one is not a 7 or a 9, so this is an 8. So this is not an 8 and that's not an 8. So that 7, 9 pair looks over here and says this isn't a 7 or a 9. 6 in box 6. It looks to me like there's 2 places for 6 in box 6. Am I missing that one of them I know is not a 6? Very possibly. These are, let's see, we still need a 2 in this box. So these are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I know that one's not a 2 or a 7 or a 9. This is a naked single 8, which makes that a 6. These aren't 8. So we get that 8. Made that a 6. This isn't a 6 anymore. Or in the corner. Oh, I can't repeat a 6 in the 6 cage is the point. Thank you. Thank you, Chameleon and Andrew there. So this is the 6. That was the point of why one of those was the 6. So we've started to slowly work out our Sudoku. So let's see. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are 6, 7, 8, 9. They aren't 6 because there's a 6 already in the row. So that's the 6. This is my other 7, 8, 9. Have I done all the 6s now? I have not, but this 6 looks down and gives me that 6. Have I done all the 6s now? Now I might have done all my 6s. So across the row, I still need a 2 in one of these 2 cells. 3 and a 4 in one of these 2 cells, and I don't think I know which is which. Somehow, inexplicably. Oh, apparently there's still a 6. I don't think there's still a 6. but I could be wrong. Let's see. Ransk asks where 3 is in row 6. Well, it's not any of these digits. It doesn't repeat in green. It's not that digit. It's not that digit. It's not that digit, because this digit sees a 3. It's not this digit, because this digit sees a 3. And it's not this digit, because that digit sees a 3. So 3 in row 6 is indeed here. That was a complicated spot, Ranks. Well done. 1 in box 4. 1 in box 4, thank you, Jenna, is here. These are, let's see, we still need a 2. We've got a 3. We still need a 4, a 5, and a 6. We need a 7. We've got an 8. We need a 9. Okay, so this is not a 2. This isn't a 2 either. This isn't a 4. 2, 4, 7, 9. I think this is a 2, 4, 7, 9 quadruple. So I think that makes this a 5. I think these are from 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That one's not an 8, for whatever that's worth. Let's see. Okay, so so we have to think about the 29 cage. So the 29 cage has no 2. So it has 1, 3, and 6, which add to 10. So I need 3 digits that add to 19. I'm just going to take chat's word for it. This is heinous. 1, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. I will just believe chat that this is the only way this works. Let's see. These are not 3 or 1 for that matter, or 6, because I've already got my 6. Let's see. This one isn't 1. And that one's not 1. Oh, I already have the 1, too. Okay, so we've got 3, 4, 7, 8. And so, for example, this digit definitely sees the 4, because all of those spots, one of them is a 4. And so that is the 2, and that's the 4. So this is not the 4, so that's the 2. So that's not the 2, so that is a 2. That 4 looks over and says, that's not the 4. Let's see. This digit is not 1, 2, 3, 4. Could be 5. It's not 6. It's not 7 or 8. It could be 9. This is 5 or 9, I guess. Oh, this 4 in row 9 rules 4 out of those, which places a 4 here. Good. These are a 7, 8, 9 triple. Just for the row. So these are now a pair. So they consist of a 1, which now has to go here, and a 4, which has to go there. So these are like triple-ish. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No 5 there. Sure. There's a 7, 9 pair here. Makes that an 8. means these are neither 7 nor 8. Those are a 3-4 pair, so that's not a 4. So these two are a 7-8 pair, so that's not a 7. Let's see. There's a 3 looking down here, which makes that a 9. Means none of these are 9, and in fact, that's a 7. So these are a 3-5 pair. It's not a 9. That's a 7-8 pair, looking up, making that a 9. Making that a 5. Making that a 3 and a 5. Making that a 4 and a 3. This is a 2, 3. This is a 4. That 9 looks up and makes that not a 9. That's not a 9 either. Let's see. This 7 means neither of those is a 7 while I am looking at Sudoku things. This isn't an 8, which makes that a 7-9 pair, Chameleon points out, making that an 8 and a 7 and an 8. That 7 looks over here and makes that a 9 and a 7. They're not both 7, only that one's 7. Making that a 9 and a 7. Now that 7 looks over and makes that a 9 and a 7, which has made that a 9 and a 7, which has made that an 8 and a 9. Let's see. So these are a 7-9 pair down here. The 8 in row 4. Okay, the 8 in row 4, thank you. It's a 7 and an 8. That 8 looks down, making that a 7, making that a 9, making that a 7 and a 9, and our betting tree is an 8. And I think that's it. So congratulations to all of the 8 bettors out there. That one felt a lot stickier, like a lot less smooth than the other one we did. Who was the other one of these by? Because I know the one we did earlier, I know was specifically inspired by this one. So we came back and did this one. I can't remember who the later one was. But anyway, I like this idea of the sort of like combining the Nurikabe and the killer, but I found this one a little too grindy for my personal tastes. But I think the idea of this, which Udukos deserves credit for, is awesome. And I suspect we will see more of this sort of combo. Because I think this is a really natural and really nice rule set to sort of combine these two ideas. Alrighty. Well, I'm going to take a quick break. And when I'm back, we will come back with one of the puzzles that I'm promised exists that has 8 votes. So we'll see. Be back in a moment. Alrighty, let us have a look at this yin-yang position sum Sudoku puzzle by Jesper. My Discord is just not displaying this as having 8 votes, but I trust people who are claiming that. But let us do this puzzle. Occasionally, for whatever reason, the reactions don't update. It's funny, in the previous case, I was the one who could see the most up-to-date version and other people couldn't, but whatever. But yeah, there's some weird Discord thing with reactions not updating at times. But anyway, thank you to those of you who let me know that there was something with 8 votes. But let's have a look at this puzzle, so that hopefully my supporters who voted for it will be happy to see it. Okay, so this is a pencil puzzle hybrid with yin yang. So we do need to fill in the digits 1 through 9 in every row, column, and 3x3 box, just like standard Sudoku. We also need to shade and unshade some cells. So all shaded cells have to be connected to all shaded cells. All unshaded cells have to be connected to all unshaded cells. And no 2x2 is either entirely shaded or entirely unshaded. And then we've got this A plus B business. Let A and B be the digits in the first and second cell of the grid from any direction. An outside clue adjacent to the grid gives the sum of A and B. An outside clue in the blue outer region indicates the sum of the digits in positions A and B within the grid from that direction. So in this case, in this example, which you can see me pointing at, this is a 5 because shaded cells count negative, and so this is 1 plus 6 is 5. And this is a 4 because if I look at the digit in the first position and the digit in the 6th position, 1 plus 5 is 4. So we have position sums, and then we have just outer 2 sums. And that is, that's the whole rule set, I think. So let's get started and try this. Oops, I want to leave that rule document up because I have to come back to it. Okay, so that did not trigger my app. There we go. Okay, this time it did. So we've got to resize this and move the zeta. All of the comments are about how approachable this puzzle is, but it's still rated as 4 stars. But what are you going to do? It is true that Penpa is really suffering from the fact that CTC is getting better and Penpa isn't. The solving experience in Penpa or in the CTC app is just a million times better. So I don't know where to put a betting tree. I will just put one down here randomly, I guess, like maybe like there. Betting tree. I'm not using the bet fish because the fish is a politically charged symbol, and I'm trying to avoid that as best possible. So first thing I notice is that 10 must be a sum of 2 positive numbers, and shaded cells count as negative, so these 2 must be green, as that position sum would tell you. Okay, and so now this 2 actually tells me that this cell has to be shaded, because if this cell is not shaded, yeah, this is unshaded. It's unshaded. It's shadeds count for negatives. I mean, not that it matters which we do, but it's shadeds that count for negatives. So the fact that this is a positive 10 tells me that these are unshaded. But this must be shaded, because if it were unshaded, the sum would not be 2. So this is shaded. So we've got that. So now the shadeds connect, so immediately as soon as that's shaded as well. And now this must be green, because if this wasn't green, this number would be negative, and it's positive. So these two numbers have a difference of 3. Right, this needs to be green, because otherwise the sum would be negative. And this now needs to be shaded, and so this is going to creep all the way down the border, because this now needs to be shaded in order for shadeds to connect, but this needs to be green in order for 2 to be positive. And now repeat those words I just said. Repeat those words I just said again. Repeat those words I just said again. Repeat those words I just said again. And now my shadeds have to get out, and they have to keep getting out, and they have to get out at least that far. So I think we get up to there before we have too much to think about. So these are like all the ways to make a difference of 2. Sadly, there are no numbers that don't have a difference of 2 with something. So I can't like rule things out of these cells, unfortunately. I'm trying to think if the fact that like these are 2 2 2s, if that tells me something. Oh, I guess no. There is something I can say, which is that the positive number needs to be the bigger one. So the positive number needs to be at least 3. Sorry, yeah, I was thinking I just knew the difference, but it's not just I know the difference. I know the direction. So, in other words, none of these can be 1 or 2. So these are a 1-2 pair, is the point that Carl is making brilliantly. Because if these were not 1, 2, then I would need to put a 1 or a 2 here, and I would need to somehow add a negative number to 1 or 2 and get 2, which is not possible. And now, similarly, these can't be 8 or 9. Because if I subtract 8 or 9 from something, I'm not going to get 2. So that's already very interesting, because now, because these two add to 10, this is also 8 or 9. There. And so this is probably going to fix everything up here, because now for this 2, this has to be either 6 or 7. But for this 3, the only way it works is a 6 and 9. So this is going to be a 9, and we get to bring in Zach for the 9 dance. Woo-hoo-hoo! Wah-ha! Ba-ba-ba-da! Wah-ha! Ba-da-ba-da! Wah-ha! Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da! Wah-ha! Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da! Wah-ha! Ba-ba! Wee-hee-hee! Ba-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba! Thank you, Zach. Thank you. And so that's a 6, that's an 8, and a 2. And we get all of those, and we actually get that 1 and that 9 as well. And now the 6th and 8th position of this row also sum to 2, for whatever that is worth. Thank you, Garion, for pointing out that a 9 looking at an 8, 9 does not make it also a 9. Oh, sorry, they sum to 8. Right, they sum to 8. Okay, that's very interesting. Okay, sorry, I misread this. So these two sum to 8, which means that one of them is a 9 and one of them is a 1, because 9 and 1 are the only two digits that are that far apart. The green one is the 9, and the gray one is the 1. So that is very interesting. Oh, they could both be positive. Never mind. They could be 3, 5, and positive. Good point. Not every number has to be a sum of a positive and a negative. this is true. Okay, so if these were both green, this would have to be a green 1 and a green 2. I'm trying to decide if that's broken, because this is a 7th position. Yes, it is broken, for the following beautiful reason. Okay, so if these are both green, that breaks. Because now these are a 1-2 pair, but the first and second position sum to 3, not 10. So these are not both green. So therefore, one of them is green and one of them is gray. And we can put our little line here to say that this is a green-gray pair. Now, if this was gray, that's a huge problem, because the gray around the border have to connect. That's one of the sort of like secrets of yin-yang. The gray and the greens around the border have to connect. If this was gray, all of these cells would be gray, and this 15 would be negative. So it's actually the other order. That's green, and that's gray. Like that. And so now, because the grays and greens around the border have to connect, I know that all of these are greens. And in fact, actually, by that logic I just said, I actually know I get at least here with the greens, because I need 2 greens at least to add to 15. No matter how I do it. And actually, 2 isn't even enough, because these couldn't possibly be the 2 that were referenced by the position sum. So I need to actually get up at least this far in order to have this possibly work out, which means that this cell is gray, like that. This cell is gray, because I can't have 2 by 2s. Remember, that is one of the rules. Not that one. That cell is gray. Okay. Okay. So yeah. So now, now I know this 3 is a sum of a positive and a negative number. Well, I guess I already knew that. Right. This 8 now is making a 1-9 pair, and I know the order, because these 2 digits sum to 8, except this one is negative. Ambrose points out. So that's a 1, that's a 9, and the 9 is green. As I originally thought I knew, but didn't actually, but turned out to be true. And so this is gray to avoid a 2 by 2. So we've got all of that. Okay, so the negative number is at most 6, but it's not 6. So this is 2, 3, 4, or 5, and this is 3 more than this. So this is 5, 6, 7, or 8. Nicholas, that's not how it works. The 11 clue in column 8, the fact that this is negative doesn't matter. This is referring to that cell, and then whatever this is points at something as well. Carl points out this cell can't self-reference, because if this was a 2... Oh, not a problem, Nicholas. The rules are quite confusing. So I think the rules are deliberately quite confusing, so I don't mind trying to keep track of them. So this can't be a 2, because if this were a 2, it would self-reference for the 10, but then it would be negative, so that's not a 2, and that's not a 5. That was Carl's point. Interestingly, this cell can't be a 2 either, because if this were a 2, it would count for the 15. So the 2 in this row is actually in one of these 2 cells only. And the 2 can't go here either, because if the 2 were here, it would count for the 16, Good lord. So the 2 in row 2 is actually placed here by black magic. That's super weird. Yeah, I don't think I have anything to say, but that's super weird. Okay. Let's see. These are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't know that we have any easy eliminations on any of those, but I thought it was worth pencil marking them. So the A plus B is saying, okay, so here, for example, this 8 is supposed to be the sum of the 6 and the 8th. So I count in 6 and 8. And 9 plus 1 is 8, provided that you know that the 1 is negative. So the coloring over here matters not at all. And it's only the coloring of the numbers you add that matter. That is, I think, the secret. But it's sort of weird that the coloring here matters for one of them, but not for the other. It's a slightly strange... oh, this is an 8. No, sorry, no, it's an 8 on the outside. Darn it, I was thinking it was an 8 on the inside suddenly, but it's not an 8 on the inside suddenly. I have done one I've done one A plus 8th plus B puzzle before. I don't remember where. Okay, so one of these needs to be 1, 3, is Carl's point. These can't possibly be 1, 3. Because if these were 1, 3, then I would repeat the 1. They need to be 1, 3 because I need to use every way of having numbers that have a difference of 2, by the way, if you're figuring this out. If one of these is 1, 3, then I'm including the 1 or the 3 in my sum to 2, and not the other. Because I'm including the 1 here, but not the 1 over here, and that doesn't work, because I'm not going to get 2. So this has to be a 1, 3 pair, and we actually know the order, if I remember my my thing. So that's 3, that's 1, and now the first and the third spot are supposed to add to 3, which makes that that was supposed to be a 1, which makes that a 4, if I did that right. These two add to that, and that has to be green. So this gray has to get out to there. This has to be gray to avoid a 2 by 2. This is not a 3 or a 4. This is a 5 or a 7. I think I believe me about that. Similarly, one of these is a 2, 4. Can the 2, 4 go here? So I'm just going to fill this in for a second just to think about what that's saying. So the 2, 4 would be saying that this 4 and that cell add together to be 2. That's not going to work. So 2, 4 doesn't work here either, for the same reason 1, 3 didn't, because the 4 needs a -2 to go with it. So the 2, 4 needs to go down here. So the 2 is here, the 4 is here. Let's see, if this was 2, 4... Oh, good night, Nicholas! It would be saying that these 2 digits added to 3. It would be saying that digit was a 1, in other words. Yeah, so wherever the 2, 4 goes, I need a... Oh, no. Here I would need a 1. Oh, that one just doesn't work, because it would need to be a 4 and a 4. Woohoo! 4 plus 4 equals 8, but that doesn't work. So the 2, 4 can't go in this line because of the 8. That is sweet. So that's a 2, 4. And then by the aforementioned logic, I need it with this cell to add to 3, which means this cell needs to be a -1 in order for that to work. Okay. I was hoping that 1 would then tell me something about the 16, but I don't think it immediately does. Ah! And then Garion points out, I know where 5 and 7 are in box 7. That's gorgeous. This is very well put together. So we're saying the 5th and the 7th cell sum to 8. And so how are they summing to 8? Well, not as 1, 7, not as 3, 5. So it's either as 2, 6. That's one way if they're both positive. Or if one is positive and one is negative, it's 1, 9. But this can't be a 1 or a 2, so therefore this can't be a 6 or a 9. So I think we know that this cell's a 6 or a 9 and this cell's a 1 or a 2, and therefore we know that this one's positive and that one's negative. Good lord. Oops. No. Oh, sorry. We know this one's positive. We don't know if this one's positive or negative. Because it could be positive or it could be negative. We don't know yet. This can't be a 7, because my sum to 16 needs to be 7 and 9. And if this were a 7, I could not reference it. So this can't be the 7. Oh, I know this 10 sum is referencing the 5 and the 7. So these two both now, because of this 10 sum, they need to both be green. Because if I add a negative number, it's not going to get me to the right number. So that's 5, that's 7. Which forces a gray and a gray, and a green and a green by connectivity. What? Oh, I think I highlighted the wrong things, but then I actually did it right. Okay, so these are gray and gray. This is green, and the green needs to get out, so that's also green. These grays need to get out like that. And so these two cells need to sum to 10, but they're not 4, 6, 5, 5, or 7, 3. So they're either 1, 9, or 2, 8, but they can't be 2, 8 because there's a 2, 8 down there. So they are 1, 9, and I know the order. It's actually 9 there and 1 there. And that 9 now makes that a 6 and that a 2, which makes this positive. So that's green. Also, my green has to connect now, so that's all green. And that's gray, because remember, my green has to connect around to the border. And this being green suddenly showed us what happens there. These two digits are to a 3 and a... Oops. 3 and something. 3 and 6. These are 2, 3, 4, 2, no, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2 and 8 is what these are. Okay. Oh, 1 in row 7 is just placed. Gorgeous. Okay, so now this can't be a 7 either, because that would include the 1, and now 7 is hidden in this row as going here and here. That is awesome as well. Because now we sort of snuck how the 7 works. So third, fourth, or fifth. So, oh, and I don't know what this cell is yet, I guess is the point. Let's see. There's a triple in this row I want to just fill in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. 3, 4, and 8 is the answer. This is a beautifully, meticulously set puzzle. This can't possibly be a 4, because I would be indexing a negative number into my 16 sum. So either the third or the fifth cell is a positive 7 or 9. Just in order to make that work. I know one of these two is a 2. Row 1, column 4 is 3, 5, or 7, right? This needs to reference a positive number. And it can't reference itself, so it can't be 1. It could maybe be 3. Can't be 4. Could be 5. Can't be 6. Could be 7. Actually, it can't be 7. Because if it were 7, I would need this to be a 7 or a 9, and it can't be. And this can't be a 9 either. I think these are actually a 3-5 pair. Right? They can't possibly be anything but a 3-5 pair, right? Because I can't use the 7 or 9 up here because I can't reference it. And so that 5 tells me the order. But now the 3 and 5 are green. So that's 3 and that's 5. And those are a 7-9 pair. Yes, and I know the order of the 7-9 pair. Looks like that. This isn't a 3 anymore. This gray needs to get out, so this is gray. I need to avoid a checkerboard. If you've not done yin-yang puzzles before, you might not know this, but you can't actually ever have a checkerboard. So in other words, this is what would be called a checkerboard, or Russ always calls it a Battenberg, which works just as well. I can't do this because in connecting the green to the green, I would disconnect the gray from the gray, or if I tried to connect the gray to the gray, I would disconnect the green from the green. Actually, I could have just done it by connectivity. I didn't even need to use the no Battenberg rule, but, you know, nothing wrong with a little overkill in Sudoku, right? These digits are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So these are all even. Let's see. Is 7 larger than 5? Ah! This has been here forever. Like, as soon as Garion pointed out 6 months ago that these were a 5-7 pair, I should have been able to figure out which of these was the 5 and which of these was the 7. And then I suspect Garion just wanted to know how long I would not notice that. And the answer was literally forever, was the answer. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Has someone mentioned it before? I really didn't notice. I genuinely, I've been like noticing lots of things from chat, but I probably just did not understand what chat was telling me about that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. A few people mentioned it. Okay, well, I don't feel so bad then. Okay, so this 5 or 6 needs to be bigger than this cell, so this cell can't be a 7. Needs to be 2 bigger, in fact. So 5 is 2 bigger than 3, etc. Okay. I can't repeat the 2 within the gray. No, wrong puzzle. But it would be nice if it worked that way. Let's see. This can't... Oh, no, this could be mentioning the 7th cell. This can't be an 8, because if this was an 8, it would be saying to... No, never mind. I was wrong. Row 2 has a 5 now, so these aren't 5. And once this isn't 5, this isn't 8. I mean, I feel like by inductive reasoning, the fact that there's a 5 in row 2 would suggest it's more likely that there's more 5s in row 2 rather than fewer, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These are not 1 or 4, so these are not 6 or 8. Those are a 1, 4 pair. This 6, 8 pair is resolved. These are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. These are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2, 5, and 9. That one's not the 2. Okay. Oh, this has a... Oh, well, this now has to be a 6, 7, 8, or 9 because... Oh, no, never mind. Sorry, that's not how it works. This certainly can't be a 7 because it would include the 1. If this is the 3, it doesn't work. Because if this cell is the 3, it's referencing a positive 1. I would need to reference the positive 1 again in order to make that 2 work. So this can't be a 3. So that's 4, and that's 6. I did see chat pointing that out. Okay, so we've got all of that going on. This can't be 3, 5, Directionary points out, because both of these are known to be negative. So this has to be 7, 9, and this is 3, 5. So therefore this is negative, because the 9th spot is positive, and I can't have two positive numbers adding to 2. So this is negative. And likewise, the 5th spot here has to be positive. Sorry, the 5th spot... The 3rd spot is negative, so the 5th spot has to be positive in order for these two to add up to 2. Now that that's a 3, this actually can't be an 8, because this would need to be a 10. So that is a 2 and a 4. So these are not 4. That one's not 2 either. This gray has to get out for sure. This has to avoid Battenberging. This gray still has to get out. Oops. And by this gray has to get out, I have to actually put the gray in those two cells. Okay. So the 3rd and the 5th are done. The 7th and the 9th actually have to also work out. It's actually interesting. If this is a 3, so that this is included in the 15 sum, then this can only be a 6 or an 8. And then that 6, 8 would give me a 7 or a 9, which is maybe possible. There's a hidden single 8 in box 4. Very good. So in fact, if this is a 3, this is exactly a 6. And then the 6th or 8th spot would have to be exactly a 9. Let's see. The 4th and the 6th spot have to add to 2. So this needs to be a -7. I maybe should look at that before I look at the more complicated stuff. Avoid a Battenberg. Avoid a 2x2. So this plus this needs to equal 2. So that's got to be a 7. Oh, this is green as well. Like that. Okay. This isn't a 6 because there's a 6 in the box, and it's not an 8 because there's an 8 in the row. So this can only be a 2 or a 4. Something about column 8 is useful, I am being told. Okay, let's see. 6 and 3 would be those two. That would be 6 and 3, or it's 4 and 7. 4 and 7 doesn't work anymore. This can't be a 4, because I would need to make 2 and a negative number add to 10. So this is 3 and 6, which makes that an 8 and a 7. And that 3, that 6 is pointing at this cell. And so these two cells need to add to 10. That means one of them is not 5. So that means this one's a 9, which means it must be positive, and that one must be 1, and that one must be positive. So it's those two together. This gray now has to get out at least to there. Okay, so we've got the 1 and the 9. Because one of these two is a 1, but I don't actually know which one yet. So now that this is a 7, now it seems... Oh, this is a 4, by the way. Okay. So that being an 8 and this being a 4 tells me that actually this is a 6 and this is a 9 in order to make that work. So that's not a 9. That's not a 9 either, because there's a 9 in the box too, actually. So the 7th and the 1st need to add to 11. So that makes that a 4 that's positive. In order to make that work. This gray needs to connect out. This needs to be gray to avoid a 2 by 2, and then it needs to connect out. And now these just need to be gray to connect. We get a little shading dance. Coloring completed. Okay, so now this is an 8, and a 6, and a 2, and a 4. This is now a 3. Through magic. Let's see, I can fill in these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Neither of these are 4. That one's not 4 either, so that one is 4. This one isn't 1, so that's a 3 or a 5. One of these two is 1. I already knew that, though. Oh, this 4 looks up here and makes that 1 and 4, which is going to be very helpful, because it now makes that 1. So these are... Let's see, we've got the 1, the 2, we need the 3 and the 5, and the 8. Well, this isn't 3 or 5, so that better be the 8. So those are a 3-5 pair. These are 3, 4, 5, 6. These are a 7-9 pair in that order, but in big numbers, not little numbers. These are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, this is not an 8. This is not a 2 or a 3, so that's a 5 or an 8. This pair, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's not an 8. Sure. This is a 2, 3, or 5, I believe, by the column. This is a 2, 3, 5, or 8 by the column. And that one's not a 2. Okay, slightly tragic. What is this pair? 8, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9. Okay, so that's useful. So that's a 7 and a 9. So at the very least, that's not a 7. So that's a 5-8 pair, which makes that a 7. Oh, I'm missing a digit in column 8? Am I? I don't think so. Oh, column 8. Sorry, I'm in the wrong column 8. So let's see. That one, these can't be 6, but one of these two is 6. Right, okay, so one of these two is 6. This has too many candidates in it. What thing is already in the box? It's a 2. This is not a 2 either, because there's a 2 in the box. Okay. I think we are there, kind of. Okay. Are all of our clues done? The 11 is done. The 10 is done. 3rd and 5th. Okay, that must be done. That must... Hey, Sarah. Welcome. I hope you're doing well. 5th and the 7th. I'm happy to have you here whenever you choose to arrive. No pressure. Let's see. That is the 9 and the 1. This is the 1 and the 3. This is the 7th and the 9th. This is the 4th and the 6th. This is the 3rd and the 5th. This is the 5th and the 7th. And this is the 2nd and the 4th. Okay, I do think we have all of our clues done. You know the rules, Garion. That's how it works. So we do our darndest to find a way to not write in the betting tree too soon. Let's see. But will placing the 2 in box 8 do anything? So you can see the rules here, Sarah. Also pinned is the Logic Masters Germany page, which has a photo example in addition to also in addition to having that. So if you look at the pinned link, that will do it. The rules are above Zeta's head. That is another way to phrase it. Let's see. Well, this can't be a 3 or a 5 by uniqueness. Alas, I fear we may have to do we may have to do the thing we least like to do, which is to fill in the digits here and actually fill in the betting tree early. So this is a 2 and the betting tree is a 5. So congratulations to the 5 bettors. So therefore this is an 8. These are not 8. That's a 3, 5, 6 triple. So therefore that's a 2 and a 5. And therefore that's a 3 and a 2. Therefore this is an 8 and a 5 and a 3. And therefore this is not 3 or 5, so it's a 6 and a 5 and a 3 and a 6. Oh, and I missed the 5 and the 3 over here. Hooray! Alrighty. That was very cool. I was very impressed with that. There were a lot of really neat, there are a lot of very neat moments in there. Just great all around. Jesper puzzles are always genius, although sometimes they're genius in a way that is more difficult than I usually like to do on stream, but this was perfect. Yeah, I did just randomly pick this betting tree, so it did pretty well in that regard. Alrighty. Let me take just a moment to pull up another puzzle, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, and we're back. And I realize I don't have the rules set up. One second. One moment. There we go. Welcome back. We're back now with Hieroglyph by Tallcat. So there was a whole weird thing with Discord where Discord was not accurately showing me the votes. So I even checked this one. It still told me there were 7 votes, but people in chat told me that it was 8. So I'll do it anyway. So anyway, at the beginning of stream, I always do the most voted on puzzle, except today I did the puzzle that Discord told me was the most voted on, but it was a lie. So anyway, so I will do I have now done, well, after I've done this puzzle, I'll have done both of the puzzles that were actually tied at the most votes. Anyway, if you're interested, by the way, in how this all works, if you want to support the stream, you can do that by clicking the join button down below. It'll get you stuff like the green name and the Zach emotes. Woohoo! Those sorts of things. But also at appropriate levels, you get access to the list of all the puzzles I am contemplating doing. And then you can vote on whichever of those puzzles you would most like to see me do. And then I'll do it. So, the rules of this puzzle by Tallcat, who is a regular on the stream, are that we have to make the digits in the killer cages add up to the total in the killer cage. We have to then also make sure the digits don't repeat in the killer cage. And we also have to make these lines have this alternating pattern where in every 3 consecutive digits along a line, I need one number that's a 7, 8, or 9, one that's a 1, 2, or 3, and one that's a 4, 5, or 6. So one high, one mid, one low. And I'm going to start with something I think I know, which is that 17 cages always have a 1, 2, or 3. By the way, is Tallcat or someone who's done this puzzle around who can suggest a good betting tree? Often with CTC puzzles, someone who's done the puzzle is able to go and figure out what digit they filled in last and give us that. But the point is, no matter how I make 17, I always need to use 1, 2, and 3. So this cell always sees always sees a 1, 2, and 3. So it is either high or middle. And so high is orange, middle is yellow. But what that means is there are 2 blues, 2 lows in these 2 cells, because I need a low here and a low here. And what that means is if I consider where those 2 lows go in this 17 cage, the answer is they go there. And by exactly the same argument, the 2 lows that are on this line go here. Have you done this one, Navario? I know you usually do all of the Tallcat puzzles. If so, I'd love a betting tree. So now this is interesting because now this 11 cage only has 1 low in it because there are 2 lows looking at it. So this is not 1, 2, 8, 1, 3, 7, or 2, 3, 6. So this is either 1, 4, 6 or 2, 4, 5. Let's go with row 8, column 7. That's not row 8, column 7. There's row 8, column 7. By the way, thank you to Chameleon for updating the betting tree app, not only for making the betting tree app in the first place, but also for updating the betting tree app for fancy holiday times. So we now have a fancy betting tree that looks like that. Okay. So I am super pleased by that. So I suppose technically I know that this cell's also yellow or red, and yellow or orange, and this cell's yellow or orange as well, because one of the blues is here in the 17 cage, and then the other blues are in both of these spots along this line. Oh, hey, Sarah, thank you. Sarah donates £2 for a bit of support. Thank you very much. No pressure whatsoever. If you can afford it and you want to support the channel, that's great. If you can't and you just want to hang out and do some puzzles, that's great. And we can get you a donation dance. Thank you very much, Sarah. Much appreciated. Awesome to have you here. So I guess the point is there is a low in this 11 cage. And so I know that these all are not low too. So these are all yellow or orange as well. So yeah, that's what Garion was saying at the same time. So it doesn't quite tell me what's, yes. Also, Chameleon points out, for absolutely free, you can click the like button on the channel, which also helps support the channel by helping invite new folks to the channel, because then YouTube will show the channel to people, and otherwise it won't. So if you would like the stream, please, that would be appreciated. And if you haven't subscribed, or if you have friends, I could just stop there, I suppose. But or if you have friends who you think might like the channel, then you could do that. There's always a 4 in this cage, which is interesting. Okay. Okay. So Carl asks, where is the third low in row 1? And the answer is, one of them's here, one of them's here. The third one is in one of these two, but that's a third low for this whole box, which makes all of these cells not low, which now makes these two cells both low, because I need one low in this string of 3, and it's not that one. Also makes these yellow-orange, but also that's 2 of the 3 lows from the box. The last one is there. That makes all of this stuff yellow-orange. So we've got a bunch of yellow-orange goop going on. So now I know that one of these is low and one of these is low. Which is interesting. Okay, the 9 cage needs 2 lows. There's no way to make a 9 without 2 lows. Only one of these 2 can be low, so therefore this cell must be low. And one of these 2 is the last low for the column. And so therefore these are all yellow-orange because of the 9 cage. And that means this cell is blue. And then by percolation, that means that cell is blue and this cell is yellow-orange. I feel like I'm on to you today, Tallcat. We'll see if I regret that, but I feel like this has been going oddly smoothly. This also has to be yellow-orange. Several people pointed out, even though I did not yellow-orange it, even though I explained why it had to be yellow or orange, I then did not yellow-orange it. Okay, well, definitely there's no highs in here, so that's one of the highs for the row. But for the column, I don't think I can do that. Column 6 now has all of its lows, so these are all yellow-orange. And you'll notice that every 13 cage in 3 has a blue. And that blue has not yet appeared, so therefore that cell is blue. Who knew? So that is very interesting. One of these 2 is blue. Oh, that's really interesting. Oh, no, that could be the same. Never mind. Box 5, you will be surprised to learn, is missing exactly one coloring, and we can color it. Oops. So that has become blue. Da-dee-dee-da-dee-da. And so is that. Da-dee-dee-da-dee-da. Just by coloring. So, of course, my remaining blue in this box is in this column. Let's see. All right. Yes. So this is one blue and one medium. It would be nice if we could start disentangling the highs and the lows. Right. Neither of these can be high. Ah, right. Right. I can just actually just mark it. These aren't high. These have to be medium. Because if I put a 7 in here with my 4, I've already blown the bank. And I know this isn't a 3 actually. So I know this is a 1 or a 2, and then these are a 4 and a 5 or a 6. I guess that's not super exciting. I know one of these is a 3. I don't know if that's interesting. So JC is asking about whether these could be the medium-medium combination. I also did that, Kurabon. People are talking about the 11 cage, and then I looked at the wrong 11 cage and was like, what? But these both have a medium-medium option, but I am suspicious about the medium-medium option working. Because if this was 2 mediums, then I would have a third medium up here. Oh, no, I don't necessarily. I might have no mediums up there. Well, I know that this is... I can actually fill in. I know that this is, of course, this is a low and a middle. There's no high in the 9 cage. Oh, for Tristan, I will redo my audio filter. Give me a moment of silence. There we go. Hopefully that is better for the audio. Alrighty. Blue. I'm now thinking that maybe I'm supposed to highlight these 2 columns and these 2 rows. Or sorry, and that row, and think about where the blues go in these together. Because I've got a lot of blues in them. And so I know that in these cells I have highlighted, I need a blue in the 17 cage over here. I need a blue in the 17 cage over here. So that's 2 more blues that I need. But I've already got 1, 2, 3 blues. So I only get... So I guess, unfortunately, the answer is I get 1 blue outside of the 17 cages in here. Unless I make either of the center points blue, in which case it double counts, I think. Oh, no, I'm way off because that's actually 9 blues. Never mind. Don't listen to me. This is not a useful way to highlight things. It sounded more useful than I had, or than it ended up being. So yeah, this is either low high or medium medium. I agree with Ranks. One of these 2 is blue. Because if neither of them were blue, I would be putting 3 blues into these 17 cages, which would assuredly repeat a digit. So one of these is blue, but not both of them. So these are a blue and a not blue pair, which by percolation means these are a blue and a not blue pair. Which then means, of course, like every pair, these are a blue and a not blue pair, and these are a blue and a not blue pair. There's no 7 in the 9 cage. If these were both blue, then these would need to both be blue because my 17s need 2 more blues, or each need one more blue cell. And that would be 4 blues in row 2. That is why I believe they cannot be blue. Or they cannot both be blue. Oh, you're right. I can't count. Never mind. They could both be blue. Never mind. I just can't count. Somehow I thought there was a blue in here, but I see now there is not. No, I'm wrong. So I don't actually know anything. Let's see. Kurban says these have to be 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and not 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. I'm not sure how's the 4 factoring into this. I feel like these being 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 is actually harder. Because that would eat up 2 mediums rather than a medium and a low. But it's definitely a good thing to be looking at. If this is 1, 2, 3, 5, 6... So they can't both be 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. If they were both 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, these digits would both be 4. So if either of these is 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, it definitively makes the corresponding cell 4, because I only have 1 medium left, and therefore that medium has to go there, because of the way the lines work. So if either of these cages is 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, which I'm not convinced it is, then one of the matching one of these is a 4. If it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, then I've used one high, and I'll have used that's true. I can use the logic I just said to corner mark 4 into these cells. Oh, that gets us a digit. So if 4 is in the 17 cage, then of course it's in the 17 cage. If 4 is not in the 17 cage, then the 17 cage is 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, in which case then I only have 1 medium left, and it's a 4, and it goes there. So that gives us a Jovi wing. So this puzzle's all about a Jovi wing on 4s, and so this digit's a 4. Great teamwork there between Chameleon and Kurban. And we get to do our little 4 dance. Thank you, Zach. Thank you. Appreciate you going through the trouble of putting on your tap dancing shoes for that. All right, so that was very cool. So this is also a 4 by the same token. Okay. So that does what? It means the 13 cage doesn't have a 4 in it. And the 13 cage doesn't have both a 5 and a 6 in it either. Because if it had both a 5 and a 6 in it, that would not work. So this 13 cage is either... Well, it's not 139 either, because it doesn't have 2 lows. It only has 1 low. So it's either 157... Oh, it's not 238 either, because 238 has 2 lows. Okay, so this 13 cage is now forced to be exactly 5-7 with a 1 by Killer Calculator. And so, therefore, that is a 6 and a 1. There's probably a smarter way to do that than, quote, by Killer Calculator. But that's all the mediums for the column. So these aren't medium. These are actually high. And as soon as that's actually high, this can't be high. It's medium, and this is high. So we get all of that. Good luck, David. Have fun. Right. The 9 cage can't be 2, 3, 4, because if it were 2, 3, 4, the 4 would have to go here. But then these would both be low, and 4 wouldn't be blue. So there's definitely a 1 in the 9 cage, and it goes there. Thank you muchly to the many in chat who saw that. So that's a medium, that's a medium. We have all the mediums in row 4, so therefore that's a 5, and these aren't medium. Good spot to JC there. Hope you're doing well, JC, by the way. So these are all high now, and so as soon as that's high, this isn't. And this isn't either. There's a 1 in box 2. It is being claimed. The 1 in box 2 is here. Now column 4 has all the yellows, Sarah points out. So these are not yellow. People who can count are incredibly useful in this stream. This is a 5 or a 6 by the column, but it's not a 5 by the box. So that's the 6 and that's the 5. Okay. There's a 5 in one of these two cells. So I'm interested, Jeffrey, aka Heliopolis, is asking where the lows go in this row. And so I need to make 3 of these 4 cells need to be low. Oh, I have all the highs in this row. So I should note that this isn't high anymore, because I've got my 3 highs. And so that not being high makes this into a high. I think I super had that before. I think I just didn't notice it. I can place the 1 in box 3. So it's not in any of these cells. So the 1 is in one of these two. But I do see that I know that this is a 5 by math. There's also complicated math that can be done to discover this, I'm being told. I'll just trust chat that it's a 2. I don't know if I'm quite up to that yet. So the point is there's a 1 in this cage, and it's not there, and it's not there, so the 1 in this cage is in one of these two cells, so that rules 1 out of that cell, which makes this a 1. Although the sexy thing about it that I didn't immediately notice is actually the fact that the 1 was in one of these two cells, even without that cool bit of logic, actually told me the coloring of this line, because the 1 being in either of these made both of these blue. Which is very cool, as they say. So do we know the high-lowity in here? Oh, I should actually place the 1. I argued that we could place the 1, and I didn't actually place the 1. Probably better to actually then place the 1. This can't be yellow, Tony points out. I saw people point that out before, and then I was like, oh yeah, that! And then I kept getting distracted and didn't do it. So we got there eventually. So this cell and this cell are the same. Oops, sorry. We're not going to use yellow. We're going to use... we'll use this gray. This cell and this cell are the same, because this cell is a low digit that's not 1 and is not that digit. So these two are the same. I don't know quite what I'm doing with that yet, but we'll figure it out. I'm sure it'll be something cool. So circle in column 4, we know it goes there. This is gray circle, because I need to put a gray circle in column 4. And again, it's not that digit, and it's not a 1. So this can be gray X, just for contrast, which makes that gray circle. This is gray X. Let's see, where is circle in box 8? I don't know if circle is 2 or not yet, do I? I'm hoping to learn from this this exercise whether circle is 2 or not. This is certainly an X. Gray circle in box 1. Gray circle in box 1 is definitely over here. So gray circle over here is in one of these two? Oh, I'm looking at the wrong... Well, I've already placed the circle in 8. How do I know whether circle is here or here? I know that one of these two is the circle, so I know the circle is in one of these two. But do I know it's not there and that these are all... Do I know it's not the case that all 3 of these are blue? Now, one thing I will say, actually, is I know that one of these two cells is 1 because I can't put a 1 in an 11 cage, and that gives me a Jovi on 1s, which lets me place a 1 over here. Where is X in row 3? Do I know for sure it's not here? Yes. X can't be here, because if this were low, that would need to be low as well, and it can't be, because it sees O, 1, and X. So this can't be X. So the only place for X in this row is here. Good spot to Garion. So now that places the X on top of the bedding tree. So the bedding tree is X, which I think I was briefly excited about, but I realize now I don't think does anything. This cell now sees every low, because it sees 1, circle, and X, Jenna is pointing out. So this is yellow or orange. And so therefore, but it's not orange, because there's already an orange on the line, and so therefore that's the blue. So this is either blue X or it's either blue X or the other thing. This cell also sees 1, O, and X, so this cell also is not blue. So therefore it's yellow, because it can't be orange, because I can't repeat orange this close by on the line, and so therefore that's blue. And this is either an O or a 1. And this is either an X or a 1. 7 in box 5, Jenna points out, is placed by the combo of our 5-7 pair over down here. 7 in box 6. Okay, what am I not seeing about 7 in box 6? In row 6. Sorry, 7 in row 6. Right, 7 in row 6 is definitely here. Because it's not going to repeat in the box, because these are an 8-9 pair. Okay, very good. So 7 is now up in one of these two. Okay. This is a much, much more coloring-y puzzle than Tallcat usually does. Tallcat probably made it just for me. That is my assumption. Oops, wrong digit. One of these is a 6. 8-9 pair in row 7. Yes, I know that neither of these is a 7, so those are an 8 and a 9. So this is not high, at the very least. This is either low or 4. 7 in box 3. I know 7 in box 3 is in one of these two cells. And so, so Sarah's point is, therefore now I know that 7's down here, but I can't possibly... Wait, could I have a 7 in the 17 cage? I think this could be a 4-7 cage, couldn't it? Okay. Garion points out that actually I now have 5s looking at all of this 17 cage. So this 17 cage does not have a 5, and so this 17 cage really is 1, 3, 4, 7. Those aren't 7, so therefore this is the 7 for this cage. So those are not 7s. Which, given that I just erased a pencil mark, means I said something wrong a second ago that chat was noticing. But we fixed it. Okay, so this isn't the 4 anymore, in particular. Could this just barely work out to be the same thing? No, it couldn't. Oh, maybe it could. Darn it. Yeah, one of those is a 1. Never mind. Yeah. I'm going to write 8, 9 into these cells to look busy. Let's see. Where does 2 go in box 4? Asks Ranksk. So the 2 certainly doesn't go there or there. If the 2 went here, the 1 would have to go there. Oh, 2 can't go here because this cell sees both none 1 blue digits. So the 2's actually only in one of these 3 spots. That still seems like a lot of options. I think Ranksk probably saw something I did not. Interesting. So Carl believes this can't possibly be 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. So if this is 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, I notice immediately that puts a 5, 6 pair up here. Oh yeah, that doesn't work. Yep. Okay, so if this is 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, because my 5, 6s align and form what I always call a Jovi wing, it puts a 5, 6 pair up here. But now this cell has to be a medium cell, but there are no medium digits left, because 5 and 6 are in the top row, and 4 is in the cage. That's complicated, but definitely true. So this is, in fact, it is not, it's not different, it's the same. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. We know this isn't 1 or 2. We know these aren't 7. That one's apparently not 2 either. So that is very interesting. In fact, this is the 7 while we're at it. So these are a medium and a low. But the 4 is definitely down here. And so because the 4 is definitely here, this is not a 4. Therefore, this is low, and therefore this is the 4 and is middle. This is the other 2, 3, because of the box. And so these are not 2 or 3. They're a 1, 4 pair, as a few people have pointed out. This cell now can't be low, because it's not 1, 2, or 3. So therefore, these 2 are low. And they are a 2, 3 pair. And that is a resolved 2, 3 pair. And so now that's all the lows for this column. And now we can finally go back to this whole bit with the O's and the X's. Because now, once I've colored this, of course, now we can go back and we can play, okay, where is, I'm trying to remember now how it worked. Oh, yes, where is O in this box? O in this box can only be in one of these 2 by Sudoku. And so now where is O in this box? Well, it can only be here by the fact that all my blues are gone in the column. So now O is 2, and therefore X is 3. So we can stop tracking those. Now, I think it turns out the OX coloring at no point did anything for us. But, you never know that until you carefully and meticulously do it. Let's see. So this cell sees a 4 and a 5. So this is a 6 because it's medium and it sees a 4 and a 5. Apparently I did something in a more complicated way than was strictly necessary, which I'm okay with. Ooh, awesome. Congratulations, Kuraban, on your Wen Chang feature. I love Wen Chang videos. I think seeing Wen Chang do one of my puzzles is low-key one of the coolest things that happens as part of being like a Sudoku setter. It's so fascinating watching someone speak a language that I speak none of, and yet knowing exactly what he must be saying at each point. Oh, there's an X hiding the tree. Right. We do not want to hide the tree. Okay. So now the 10 cage, I am being told, is under pressure. So it can't be... So it's either 2-8 or 4-6. If it is 2-8, it goes that direction. That would make that a 1. Oh, right. There's an 8-9 pair looking at this cell, so this cell can't be 8. Beautiful. So this is 4-6. It's exactly like chat foretold. Absolutely. I think a Sudoku in Portuguese channel would be cool. I think anything that gets more people able to understand Sudoku stuff is cool. Because it's not the easiest hobby to get into, but I think it's a very cool hobby. These are 4 or 6. This is 8 or 9. This is 1 or 2. My stream today is from 2 to 6 my time, so we've got about an hour. An hour and 10 minutes or so is the answer for how long stream is today. Column 3 has a 5, 8, 9 triple, I'm being told. So these are 5, 8, and 9. And this one's not a 5 by virtue of the fact that it's not the right color to be a 5. So that's an 8, 9 pair, which makes that a 7. Row 2, column 8. No, row 8, column 8 is a 2. I don't see how I know that yet. 7 in box 9 is here. I believe that. So therefore that sorts out that this isn't orange anymore and this isn't yellow anymore. 5 and 7. Oh, just by Sudoku, not by coloring. It's just a boring old the 2 is placed in this box kind of thing. Is it the last 2 in the grid? I think it's it's not quite the last 2 in the grid. So the last 2 in the grid though must go there. So the 1 in this box, I can pencil mark and finally deal with the 1 that I've been looking at this whole time. So the 1 in this box can get pencil marked in one of those 2 cells, meaning that that's not a 1. And so we get sort of a elaborate thing. And now Sven is telling me that this apparently can't be 1. Who knows? So that's a 1. So this cell isn't blue. Who knew? One of these 2 is a 5. Yes, row 6 is in dire need of a 3. So the 3 probably needs to go there per Ambrose. Therefore, this is a 4, which makes that a 6, which makes this another 8, 9. I might have to color my 8, 9 soon. This is a 4 or a 5. Okay, so I know this isn't 4, 7, and I know it's not 2, 9. So this is either 3, 8 or 5, 6. 5 in box 9 is place. That might help. Possibly. Hidden 6 in box 3. Right. That can't be 6 either. If I look at all the 6s, I will see the hidden 6 in box 3. Thank you to Jeffrey there. So that makes that also yellow, which makes it a 5, which means that these aren't yellow. And I now, thanks to Rank's comment, have "We Don't Talk About Bruno" stuck in my head. I will try not to sing it for you. I have 87s. Excellent. So there is an extra 7 over here. Bonus 7, as they say. Let's see. So it's not 110. It's not 2, 9. It could be 3, 8. Or it could be, it's not 4, 7, or it could be 5, 6. Now, this digit is not 5 or 8 by the row. So this digit, therefore, is not 6 or the other one. So it is 5 or 8. So let's see. Okay. If this was a 4, the 4 would go down there. The line in box 1 is rather icky, isn't it? I suppose I could fill in an 8, 9 in this cell. Will that help anything? Probably not. So if these were both high, they would be an 8, 9 pair. Is that a problem due to coloring? I feel like that might be a coloring-related problem. Because let's see, if this is an 8, 9 pair, yeah, I think I probably have to circle X 8, 9s. So let's pencil these cells up in the top 3 rows, though. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's not a 5. That's not a 5, of course. Those aren't 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so that 8, 9 is that 8, 9. Those 8, 9s are the same. Well, that petered out quickly. Oh, this one I can get to there. That one's X. Oh, this one's X. So this one's O and X and O. There we go. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. Okay, Kurabon has it. If I make this a 5, 6 pair, the point is these two cells become a 5, 6 pair.
That's very clever, Tallcat. Very clever. So these can't be a 5-6 pair. And so therefore these are a 3-8 pair. Very well spotted, Kurabon. Good job playing by the rules. Let's see. So this is not an 8. These aren't 8 either. Let's see. Okay, so oh, it was Garion? Sorry, Garion. Okay, row 7 is very interesting because this cell now is a 4 or a 6 by the row, but there's a pencil marked 6 that tells me that this is a 4, which makes that a 6 and a 4. So yeah, did not seem to interact with the O's and X's in the way that I fantasized about. This cell can never be a 9 anymore, because if it was a 9, that would be a 6. So I can eliminate 9 from that cell. So this is either 5 and 6 or 8 and 9. That is hilarious, Ranks. Let's see, column 2. This is one of each. High and medium. And that's one high and one medium. So Carl's point is this is one high and one medium. And therefore the point is one of them is a 9, because the only high left in this box is a 9. And that's going to do all kinds of stuff, not least of which is 5ing that cell, oranging that cell, yellowing that cell, D9ing this cell. So we got a bunch of cool stuff out of that. So this is no longer high or low. This is middle. And it's not 5 or 6, so this cell's a 4. And that looks up at this cell, which now is not 4 or 6, so it's a 5, and that's a 4. And now this is a 9, because it's not yellow anymore. Which means that this finally is yellow along with that, and this is not yellow. That was one of the most delayed gratification moments in a Sudoku that I've ever had. And finally, we get to replace all of the O's with 9s. By the way, as Sven is watching, I would love to be able to double-click X's and O's to select all of them. It is a feature that I understand that probably I would be the only human to use, but I think the computers would like it too. Let's see. Okay, so there is a 9, a 6, and an 8. Okay, so I've got to make sure I fix the coloring on these. So this is no longer able to be orange because the row has 3 oranges. And this is no longer able to be yellow because the box has 3 yellows. Sorry, it's no longer able to be yellow, so I therefore have to click yellow. So we can do that. Okay, so these are a 9 and a something. A 9 and a 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are a 6 and a 9. So that's the yellow, and that's the orange, which is going to disambiguate that that's the blue, and that's the orange. And that's the orange. And therefore, that's going to be orange. And therefore, to the shock of everyone who's been watching, the betting tree is blue. Okay, so therefore, this is the 6 and the 9, the 3 and the 9, the 8, and the betting tree is a 3. Gorgeous puzzle. Really fun one there, Tallcat. The
the intro was so gentle, and then it got less gentle as it went on. But nothing was too terrible. But it got the back half of the puzzle was very precise. After sort of a very gentle intro with sort of like, oh, well, of course this and that and this and that. It had the, like, this is a Turquoise difficulty curve. I feel like usually Tallcat puzzles, usually the hardest part is at the beginning. This one, I felt like the hard part was sort of like it ramped up towards the end there. I agree with Jay Dyer that, like, infinitely scrolling, procedurally generated roguelike samurai Sudokus is the way of the future. I think that is what everyone wants out of life. But very cool puzzle. I enjoyed that one a lot. Alrighty, well, now I have definitely done my penance for the fact that Discord lied to me about what puzzle had the most votes. So I've now done both of the purported 8-vote things. I'm going to take a quick break and come back and do some 6x6s to wrap up. So be right back. Please do take a second to like the stream if you have not done so yet. It is much appreciated and very helpful. Be back in just a moment. Alrighty, welcome back. So if you are new around here, our tradition usually is that towards the end of stream, when I'm not confident that I can start another puzzle and finish it, I usually will switch over to 6x6s. And the 6x6s are, as it would happen, supplied by you. So if you go to the zetamath Discord, which is part of the Puzzle Plaza Enterprise, the link is in the description. You can go there, hang out on the zetamath Discord, and then you can submit 6x6s that you have made if you think they would be appropriate for stream ending. Ranks also apparently has started harvesting the 6x6s. I'm very happy with how many of them appear. There are so many 6x6s there. So also, in addition to the fact that you can add 6x6s, if you would like, you also have the option to just do some 6x6s if you want them. Please try and keep them to like 15-minute-ish doable. Like it's very cute to like make a 6x6 that'll take an hour. And I might well do a 6x6 that would take an hour. But please don't put them there. It sort of defeats the purpose. All right. So here is the thing. We need to use the digits 0 through 5, normal Sudoku rules, and we need to make every line have the same product. So the first thing I spot is that the product isn't 0. So there can be no zeros on any line. And so therefore there's a 0 up here. And so therefore there's a 0 down here. And by Sven, this is a 0. And so therefore this is a 0. So we've got that done. Now, the product, so let's write down these digits. So these are a 2, a 4, and a 5. I don't think the product can possibly be divisible by 5, can it? Maybe. So if the product is divisible by 5, it would have to be 10. But maybe 10 is a plausible answer for the product. It might be. The product could be 8, and this could be 2, 2, 2. That would be interesting. We will see. We will see. We'll continue. So, no, the product can't be 5 because these can't both have a 5. I see that as I was starting to articulate that, a couple of people in chat also did. Right. The product can't be divisible by 5 because I could put a maximum of 1 5 in these 3 cells, and I would need a 5 on every line if I wanted the product to be divisible by 5. So there's no 5 there. There is no 5 in either of these cells, so there's a 5 in one of these 2 cells. There's a 5 in one of these 2 cells. There's a 5 in one of these 2 cells. And so now there's a 5 placed here. Because I can't put a 5 on a line, and I can't place a 5 in a column with a 5, you know, the usual 5 stuff. Got to place a 5 there. So in this column, what's left? We've got 2, 3, 4 left. That one's not a 2. I mean, I'm prepared to prove the fundamental theorem of arithmetic. I'm not sure I'm prepared to prove the fundamental theorem of arithmetic on the like tail end of a stream. It's a fun proof. I think it's a cool thing to prove. It's interesting. Neither of these is 2, so the product can't be 8. And so like this being 2, 4 won't work. Because I can't make 8 any way that does that. The product certainly can't be 16 either. And so what that actually means is the product, if I look at these 2 together, the product is not 8, and it's not 4, and it's not 16. So the only product I can make that actually works is 6, and therefore this is a 3 and that's a 2. Product means multiply, yes. So product means when you multiply them all together. Oh, no, it could be 4, right? It could be 1, 4 here, sorry. 4 could be done, because it could be 2 and 2 and 1 and 4. Ah, sneaky, sneaky. And so this could be 1 and 2 and 2? Would have to be 1 and 2 and 2. And so then this would have to be 4 and 1. Okay, maybe it is actually possible. Oh yeah, 6 isn't possible. Is it? So So I'm trying to see, this cell sees the entirety of this line. So, okay. So, Rank's point is this can never be 3, because if this was a 3, I would rule 3 out of this product, which is not going to work. So this is never a 3. So one of these is a 3. Making this a 2 or a 4. If this was also a 2 or a 4, that would make this column a 2, 4, 5 triple, which would make these a 1, 3 pair. This could never be a 3, so this would have to be a 1. And that doesn't work. So if this digit can't be 2 or 4. If this digit is 2 or 4, it makes these two a 1, 3 pair. That can't be a 3, because it would be a 3 in the product, and that breaks. So this would have to be a 1. But now my product is definitely even, but I've used both 2 and 4 down here, so that doesn't work. So that feels kind of look-aheady, except that I was able to see it all. So this isn't 2 or 4, and it's not 0 or 5. So this is only 1 or 3, is the punchline of this. This being 1 seems awfully difficult. If this is 1... now every number in this is like a product of, or is not 1. And that doesn't sound great. Right. And so the point is, I already proved this digit's not 3, but I do still need to put a 3. Oh, never mind. Sorry, this number could be 3. Actually, right. One of these two cells is 3, or in other words, neither of these cells is 3. And so there's no 3 in the product at all, because there's no 3 in either of these. And so this isn't a 3. And so that is a 3. And now this looks like it's a 2-4 pair, but we already proved it can't be a 2-4 pair. And it can't be a 4-4 pair for sure. So this has got to be a 2-2 pair. So now this is a 4 and a 1. There's no 6 in the puzzle. It's 0 through 5. So that is a 3. And that's a 2. These I know are a 1 and a 4. And so that's the 1 and that's the 4. And so that's the 5 and that's the 4 and that's the 5 going over there. These need to be a 1-2 pair in that order. These need to be a 0-3 pair in some unspecified order. These have to be a 1-4 because they're not 2-2, because neither of them can be a 2, so they can't both be 2. So that's a 1 and that's a 4, and that's a 5 and a 4 and a 5. This is a 0 or a 3, and that's a 0 or a 3. So these are, well, that's a 1. I don't even have to think about it. And that's a 2. And now this is a 3 and a 0 and a 3 and a 0 and a 3 and a 0. Awesome puzzle. I really enjoyed that one. So it was an easy mistake to make that I missed the 1-4, but very cool. Was definitely not what I expected, but very cool puzzle. I liked that a lot. And I think this is like the perfect thing where I think 6x6 is the perfect size. Because if it were 9x9, this puzzle would be really boring. Because you would have to figure out what the total was, and then you'd have a bunch of puzzle left, but that would be boring. But if you do it in a 6x6, you figure out what the total is, and then the puzzle's over, which is perfect. Alrighty. So I am going to be right back with another 6x6. We are back with Summus by Jay Dyer. Now, each line has a different product. I think that would be a very cool rule to have in a 9x9. Okay, so we've got normal 6x6 rules, and we've got sum diamonds, which tell us the sum of the digits on the diamonds. Note digits can repeat. I have not skipped puzzles, but I have, Isabella, tried to sort of, if there's people who've only submitted 1 or 2, I've tried to sort of prioritize doing new people's puzzles, but then that means exactly where I am in the list well, I'm not sort of going in order, so then we have that problem. But yeah, I like the idea of trying. Maybe I'll try and do the no lines have the same product. That would be interesting. Anyway, note digits can repeat, because otherwise it would be impossible. And this is a palindrome. So a whole box in a 6x6 sums to 21. So these two sum to 4, and so therefore they're 1 and 3. This is a 4. That could be 1, 1, 2, annoyingly. These are a 1, 2 for a simpler reason, that these sum to 3. And so if they sum to 3, you probably know how that works. There's either a repeated 1 or a repeated 2 on this 8. I did enjoy that every Renbon has a different combination puzzle. That was one of my favorites. That may have been me. So these two digits are the same. And the thing that they're the same as is not 1, 2, or 3. So these are 4, 5, 6. Yes. So that does something. I'm sure it does. Yeah, so this is only 2 or 4 is a good point, because it could be 2 if it's 1, 1, 2, 4. This is probably also 2 or 4 for the same reason, because it can't be 1 or 3, and it certainly can't be 5. So yeah, this is also 2 or 4. So Garian's point is actually the minimum here is if these are both 3, and this is 1 and 1, so I actually only get sort of like 1 bit of wiggle room. So that forces these to be a 3, 4 and a 1, 2. Obviously not pairs, because then that would sum to 10. There is a parity thing on the 8 diamond. That's a good point. So this has to be odd, and it can't be 5. So this is also a 1 or a 3. That is a smart point to Chameleon. So I think FJam is suggesting I notice that these two cells are the same as these two cells. If I understand their point. Row 4, column 1, 2... equals row 3, column 5, 6. Right. Okay. That's a good point. Okay. So these two are the same.
That's very interesting. By the palindrome, because that digit's that digit. So these two are these two. So these have the same sum. What can that sum be? It could be 5, in which case these would be 1, 2, and these would be 1, 3. Actually, can it be anything but 5? I'm straining to see how it can be anything but 5. The sum just can't be 4, because these numbers can't add to 4. These numbers could add to 3. But if they did, I would need these to add to 6. Is that possible? No, these can't add to 3. That's the point. These can't add to 3, so the sum can't be 3. And I know the sum is odd because this sum is odd, and so by parity thing, this sum needs to be odd. And it certainly can't be 7, so it's got to be 5. So right, so the sum is 5, and so therefore these need to be 3, so that needs to be a 1 and a 2, and therefore that's a 3. And these need to sum to 4, therefore, so that's a 3 and a 1. And so I already screwed it up. That's not the one that's the 3 and the 1. This is the one that's the 3 and the 1. 2. It's the greens that were, it's the ones that weren't green, or it's the greens that are the same. Not these. Yes. It's like, wait, something doesn't look right. My greens don't look like they're the same. They're not as the same as they could be. We'll put it that way. 2 is now placed in box 6, Garion points out, which gives us a 5. That 5 is actually placed here in this box, because the 5 can't go here. It can't go here, because it would then also go there. But if I put the 5 here, I'd need to put a 2 here, and I can't. So the 5 actually goes over there. Now I ask where 3 goes in this column, and because of that 3, it only goes here. So that's a 3, that's a 2, and a 2. So we got all of that going on. So this isn't a 5 either. It is a 4, 6. Okay, so I suppose I should write out candidates for these cells, which are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and these cells, which are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's not a 3 or a 5. That's not a 3. That's a 4, 6 pair, which makes that a 5. Now 1 and 6, that can't be a 4, I'm seeing, because this can't be a 3. This can't be a 6, because that can't be a 1. So we've got all of that. We can fill in the rest of the 5s, if we are so inclined, I'm being told. I think that's all the 5s. It looks like them. And then this is a 4 or a 6. Only this is a 1, 4, or 6. This is a 4 or a 6. But that being a 4 or a 6 makes that a 1 and that a 1, which makes that a 4 and a 6. And then by palindrome makes that a 6 and a 4, and a 6 and a 6. And a 3 and a 4 and a 6. And so that's a 3. That's a 6. That's a 4 and a 5. And a 4 and a 1. And a 2 and a 1 and a 4. Very nice puzzle. The observation that these two pairs of cells were the same was really cool. I liked it. Alrighty, I'm going to pull up another puzzle. I'll be right back.
Alrighty, I was looking back for the promised Isabella puzzle that I had missed. So here is the Isabella puzzle that I had missed. So this is Ye Old 1-6 puzzle. So digits in pink index the location of the 1 and the 6 within the row. So if this was a 3, for example, it would say that this digit was a 1. And if this was a 4, it would say that this digit was a 6. And we also have the sum diamonds from the last puzzle. So we have to be careful with that. So I'm noticing that because these add to at most 11, these need to add to at least 10. So therefore, this is always taken from 4, 5, 6. And in fact, I need one of them to be 5, 6 and one of them to be 4, 6. So in fact, there's definitely 2 6s on here. And so the fact that there's 2 6s on here means that these are a 2-3 pair in order to tell me a story about where the 6s go over here. It's either 2 and 3 or 3 and 2. And so now this digit is a 5 or a 6, based on that, that information. Yes, so there is a... Okay, so the point is, one of these digits is a 5, because I need a 1 in this box somewhere, and wherever the 1 is, it's in column 5, which means one of these is a 5, and therefore no 5 here, so those sum to 10, so therefore no 4 there, these sum to 11, and we actually get this slightly tighter packing of those. I, of course, know that I have a 4 and a 6 down here. And I know the 4 isn't there. Oh, no, I could do 4 and 5. Never mind, that's okay. So the 2 in this box can't be there because it would place a 1 there, and the 3 in this box can't be there because it would place a 1 there. So Liam points out that this is a 2-3 pair, which is a gorgeous spot. So therefore, this is a 1-5 pair. Means that's not the 1. But this can't be a 2 either if this is a 2-3 pair, because that would put a 1 there, and there's not. So that's a 3 and a 2 and a 1. This is now a naked single 4, because it sees 1, 2, 3, and 5, and 6, so that's a 4. So this is a 5 or a 6. These are a 2-3 pair themselves, to finish off the box. And these are a 1-4 pair, to make that work. So, let us see. Okay, so, so 1665 doesn't work. 1 in column 4 can't go. That breaks box 3. Right. If I put the 1 over here, then I need to put a 5, 6 on this side. Because, as I said, 1665 works, but the 1 can't go on this side, because that would put a 5, 6 over here and break that cell. So therefore, that's a 1 and that's a 4. These are therefore 2 and 6. But if this were a 2, that would need to be a 7, so that's not going to work so well. So that's a 6 and a 3 and a 2, and that 2 places a 1. The 6 places a 1. This has become a 5. So now these two cells I know are 5 and 6, and I can actually even write them in. So these two need to add to 7. They can't be 1, 6. And they can't be 3, 4, so they have to be 2, 5, and they have to go in that order. So that's a 6 and a 5. That's a 4. That is a 4, just because that's where the 6 went. These are a 2, which goes there, and a 3, which goes there. These are a 5, 6 pair, so, oops, not a 5, 6 pair, but that is a 6. And that's a something else. It's a 3. And so now we have to solve the math problem to figure out what this does. So that's a 3 and a 2, and a 2 and a 3. The 2 tells me the location of the 6 and the 6, and the 5 and the 4, and the 1 and the 5, and the 1 and the 4. That was very cute. I liked that one a lot. Also, I loved that Carl predicted correctly that I was going to, for a long time, completely forget about the 8 diamond, and the fact that I could fill it in. I did eventually spot it. It being a 6x6 puzzle meant I spotted it faster than if it were a 9x9, and I had to notice that I'd filled in one side or the other. Yeah, very nice. That's amazing, Kurabon. That almost never happens. That, like, you get 10 solves and 10 and a rating. Yeah, I think that happened to me on Baby Dragon, and I think that might be the first time in forever that it's happened. Alrighty. I will be right back. Alrighty, next up, we have a 6x6 that is a co-feature of Isabella and Jovial, who are both delightful. This looks so familiar, but I see that this is version 2, so I think I must have done version 1 of this puzzle. That is my guess. So I think this puzzle is going to be about roping, sort of. So the thing I know for sure, looking at this, by the way, I should say, these are region sum lines, so the sum of these two digits is the same as the sum of these two, is the same as the sum of these two. And these are white dots, which mean the digits are consecutive. And these are black dots, which means the sum of them has a ratio of 1 to 2. But the thing I was going to say is these two yellows, they need to show up in this column, and they need to show up together, because if one of the yellows is there, the other yellow is too. So I don't know which of these is yellow. I'm just going to randomly pick that one's yellow. And then these will be yellow. Otherwise, the other option is that these are yellow, in which case these are yellow, in which case these sums are the same, which works, doesn't it, if the sum is 7. Okay, so I know either these two are yellow or these two are yellow. All right. Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed the baby dragon solve. I really enjoyed Simon's solve of baby dragon as well. It was one of my favorite. Oh, I'm dropping frames. Can people still see me? My chat is being all disconnected / connecting and disconnecting. I don't know if anyone can actually hear or see me. Hello? Okay, people can still communicate. Okay, good. Alrighty. Okay, yeah, just chat is being weird and grouchy. Okay, so there's a similar thing going on. Oh, okay. No, this always has the same sum. Okay, that's the point. So now the question is, so now that I've made that observation, the question is, where did these two cells go in this box? Oh, no. Sorry, I'm wrong. Because either they go on yellow, but they could also equally well go there. And that would be okay. So it is a good point that the black dot is more restrictive. So if this is yellow, then what happens if this is yellow is that also this is yellow, and so now these are green and these are green. That's not the thing I wanted. Sorry, I wanted to do it the other way. I think this way is the way that's broken. So if I do this, now these have the same sum. And if I look at this, these aren't yellow, so they go there. And so that means the sum is 7, because 3 times that same common sum is 21. But there's a huge problem with that, which is that 7 does not appear as the sum of 2 black dot digits. So this is not the direction that it goes. The yellow here goes up instead, which means that this is yellow. So this is green and green and green. And now these are purple and purple and purple. And so now the point is purple sums to a multiple of 3, as every black dot does. If you think about it, sadly, you cannot do 7 over 3 and 14 over 3. Please don't say that too loudly around Andrew Sarkis. It might become a puzzle. If this... But the sum of black dot digits is always a multiple of 3. And the way you know that is that one of them is double the other. So if one of them is x and the other is 2x, together they're 3x. So note I can make this total in 2 different ways. So the total is not 3. And so 2, 4 would make the total 6. Or 3, 6 would make the total 9. 9 seems... Oh, no, 9 seems possible. Okay, so then the yellow total is odd. Because it's purple and yellow that are equal. Right. purple and yellow are equal, but the total is odd because of these two, right? So this is a multiple, saying it's a multiple of 3. This is saying it's odd. And so it's not 3, and so therefore it's 9. So these are 3, 6. These are 4, 5. So these are 4, 5 everywhere. And so this is the 1, 2 that I was thinking it wasn't going to be. 3, 6, 1, 2. And so the question is, how do I make a 3, 6 number be consecutive with a 1, 2 number? And the answer is with 2 and 3. Like that. Okay. So that was very interesting. I was thinking, it's funny, when I was first explaining it, I was thinking, oh, I should look at the black dot column. It'll be more restricted. And then I completely forgot about it by the time that I was done explaining it. Okay, so now... now what on earth do we do? So now I have to think about the same thing over here. So if these digits, let's just give them a new color. If these digits go here, then they have an odd total. And so that would be odd and would make this odd as well. Or if these digits go here, and here, now the thing that goes here also goes here, and so this is an odd total. And so these would be the same. I feel like I'm getting that 21 is even in this version, but I'm trying to sort of wrap my brain around it. So here, let's just pick a color. Orange now has to go here, which has to be here. Ah, yes. Okay, I see it now. And so now the point is I can complete my... I forget the name of the ice cream now. What is it the Midwesterners call ice cream? That's like this batch of colors. The problem is that Neapolitan is not the one that Spumoni or something is the one I'm thinking of. Neapolitan isn't mixed together. Neapolitan is neatly separated. Vanilla, strawberry, and chocolate. The thing I'm thinking about, yeah, Spumoni is the one I'm thinking about, which is what this always makes me think about. And it's like green and purple, despite not having any of the flavors that you would associate with green and purple. It's just sort of chocolate flavored, kind of. But the problem, as 2 to 10th points out, is now orange and gray have the same sum because of this line, and they're both consecutive, but they're different, and that doesn't work at all. Okay, so the point is that red does not go that way. Red goes this way instead. And now once red goes that way, I now have my orange and my orange and my orange. And I now have my gray and my gray and my gray. That was super cool. And so what we get now is that, well, these are actually the same. They're just consecutive. Right, there's pistachio. It's like pistachio and chocolate and Spumoni. I think this stuff tastes very good. They give it to you at, like, what chain restaurant is it? It's some Italian-ish chain restaurant. They always give it to you at the end, at least in the Midwest. Okay, so... so now the point is all of these have the same sum, right? Orange is the same as gray, and gray is the same as red, so therefore the sum is identically 7, and so therefore these are 3, 4, because that's how you sum to 7 with 2 consecutive numbers. And so now that's 4 and 3. And so now that's 5 and 4. And so this is now 2 or 5, and by virtue of the fact that it's 2 or 5, that tells me that orange is a 2-5 pair. That's awesome. So this is 5 and 2. This is 2 and 5. This is 1 and 2. This is 4 and 5. This is 3 and 4. So therefore that's 5 and 2, and 1 and 2, and 4 and 5, and 3 and 4, and 6 and 3, and 6 and 3. And these are 1 and 6, so that's a 6 and a 1, and a 6 and a 1, and a 6 and a 1. Very nice. That was a cool puzzle. It was well advertised what the point of the puzzle was to look at. And then you just had to sort of unwind exactly how all of this came together. I really liked the fact, by the way, that knowing this white dot alone told you that this had to be 2-5, because it always worked out that way. It's actually a similar step in Pastiche, where there's a Renbon that's basically a white dot that does the same, telling you that kind of thing. Alrighty, I've probably got time for one more, so let me dig up one more, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, we have a Kinnison puzzle next. Normal 6x6 rules. These are clones, not rotated or anything. They're just clones. So these two are the same digit, these two are the same digit, etc. And the sum of every killer cage is a square number, and digits can't repeat. So the minimum sum of 5 digits is 15, and the maximum sum is 20. And so therefore the only square in there is 16. And the way I make 16 is as 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. These seem not to be 4, so one of these is a 4. This digit sees the entire cage, so this digit's a 5. So this digit is the same as that digit. We've got an extra clone because this digit's got to go there. Now, where does yellow go in the clone? If yellow went here, that would be a problem because it would also go there and clash. So in fact, yellow goes in these places. And so now yellow goes in one of these two places. I don't know which yet. 4 notably can't go in this cell because of that. I did not do my clones right. Try again. So the yellow goes... It's still true that the yellow goes here, but I cloned it to there rather than to there, is the thing that I did wrong. I did not clone well, it turns out. Okay, so 4 can't go over there, is Garion's point. So 4 goes in one of these two, because 4 can't repeat in this box that already has a 4. And so therefore this is a 4. And therefore this had better be a 5, because the next because the next square after 4 is 9, and the one after that is 16, and I can't put a 12 in this square. So that is a 5. Hey, Clover. Hope you're doing well. Ah, right. This can't even be 4, Carl points out, for exactly the reason I was just saying. Because if this was 4, then that would have to be a 5, but there's a 5 there already. So in fact, actually, that's the 4. I certainly can't put the 5 here, because then this would need to be a 4 or an 11, and it's not going to be an 11. So therefore 5 needs to be in one of the places, but 5 isn't yellow, because yellow's not 5, so therefore that's 5 and that's 5. And therefore that's 5, so that's 4 by previously existing technology. This cell now is not 4 or 5, so it's 1, 2, 3, or 6, but it sees these 3, so therefore this cell and this cell are the same. And so now I have to ask, where does green go in this clone? And the answer is it can only go there and there within the clone. Oh, I'm told there's another 5 in the grid. I was under the impression I'd placed all the 5s. So I get all of that. I probably can place more greens if I squint closely. Maybe not, actually. Unknown. Okay, so this could be... It's true that green is not... I mean, green I know is 1, 2, 3, or 6. So what does this cage add to, I guess is the question, because I'd forgotten that this cage existed, or perhaps more accurately, never known that this cage existed. So it has to add to 9 or 16, but 16 isn't even possible, so it has to add to 9, and so therefore these are 1 and 3. And the point of this being 1 and 3 is that it tells you what the sum of this cage is, because now the sum of this cage has to be 9, because if it were 4, it would have to itself be 1, 3, which does not work. So this is a 3, 6, which makes that a 1 and a 3, and that is absolutely gorgeous. So now yellow is 1. So these are not 1. These are not 1. So those are a 2, 6 pair, so that's a 3. Green is 2 or 6, but by the row it's 2. So that is 6. This cell is a 3 or a 6, and I don't know which one yet. But it's that one. So these are all the same. This is also a 3 or a 6. But this is a 1. And so the question is, which is a square, 4 or 7? And despite 7 being the square of the square root of 7, which is a perfectly cromulent algebraic number, I believe the intended solution is for me to put a 3 here. And so, therefore, we get to put a 6 here, a 2 there, a 6 there, a 1 here, a 2 here, a 3 here. Let's do a little bit of honest coloring work before we call it a day. Oops. Orange. It's funny, one of the very first puzzles I tried to set, actually, was every cage is sums to a prime, and the primes are all different. And I figured out I could set it, but it was not a fun puzzle the way I did it. It might be possible to make it fun, but I did not succeed at making it fun. Double-click one that isn't colored. But then how will I know what color to make it? Alrighty, well that was a very lovely puzzle, Kinnison, when you get around to it. But yes, has been a very delightful combination of puzzles today. So thank you, everyone, for coming. That's right, Clover. Someone was suggesting that you set a Fog of War Samurai Sudoku. So perhaps you were awakened by your name being mentioned. I'm intrigued to see what people do with Fog of War. I don't know that I'm particularly drawn to setting it, but I think it has some interesting potential, and I think if people continue adding, and by people, let's be honest, we mean Sven. If Sven continues adding features that let you do that kind of like little very light programming elements, I think it will let you program all kinds of cool stuff to put in Sudoku puzzles, so I'd be interested to see that. Alrighty, well, thank you everyone very much for hanging out. If you're interested in supporting the stream again, please, in order of ease, liking the stream and subscribing to the stream are the easiest things that you can do that help support the stream. But if you want to go even one more step than that, you can click the join button down below, and for as little as $5 a month, you can support the stream. I stream about 50 hours a month, so if you want to sort of figure out the like dollars per hour, I'll let you do the math on that. But anyway, if you're interested in doing that, we very much appreciate it. If you can't or don't want to, but want to hang out anyway, absolutely, please do. Don't feel any obligation. Do what you can and are comfortable with and want to. But thank you to all of you who do support the channel. It is great, and it really helps sort of keep things going around here. Also, extra special thank you to the people who support my work at the top level. So those are David Ratner, Michael O'Connor, Nordy, Franco, Woofer, and Andreas. Those are our turbines. Thank you very much. Grockles decided early on that the people who support the stream should be known as fans, windmills, and turbines. So you can blame Grockles for that if you are later trying to figure out why. Yes, Zach always wants more herring. He would like to be slightly more spherical, and he believes that more herring will help him become more spherical, which he believes will help him become a more perfect digit dancer. So we will see how that goes. But anyway, that loud alarm means it's 6 o'clock where I am. So I'm going to head off for now. But thank you all for hanging out, and I'll see you all next time. I'll be streaming again on Friday, same time as today. So I hope to see some of you then. Bye for now.